just to make sure, like, maybe lowers his speaker volume just in case this is a really loud video, because I haven't seen this video. I'm assuming you haven't seen this video. We don't know what his audio settings are. He might blast us.
Yeah, well, what we'll end up doing is we'll wait for a couple of people to come on, and then we'll start the video and we'll see if they want it louder or softer.
Okay, all right. Well,
Oh, it's gonna be. You know, when somebody.
oh,
When
we
somebody's
still
going
need
to
to
be
start the
active,
stream. Oh, okay, it's starting now. Good. All right.
when somebody's going to be actively talking shit about you, it's going to be hard to keep your mouth shut for the first time going around. But I'll give it an attempt.
It's easy for me because I'm used to that, but it's also weird because like no one really talks about me ever.
I'll, don't
They
worry.
don't ever talk about me at all. They just kind of ignore me, and I'm like, okay,
Oh,
whatever, that's
oh,
fine.
don't worry. It's coming. When you start your channel, don't worry. You, you'll be very
Well,
infamous very soon.
bro, I think at that point, it's literally just they just have to. I feel like even when I start my channel, people are gonna be like, you know, they're just gonna be dodging lasers around my channel, just like moving, bobbing and weaving, as they say. Mm.
Ah, the people are starting to come. Good morning, Box of War.
Yeah, let me. Oh, let me notify the server with both of our stream stuff. There we go. The Box of War. That's a great name.
Yes.
Mm.
Why? Why yes, Rocket Alice. One of us is a liar. I'm the liar. It stands for legend is always right.
Hmm. I'm just going to be reading a little bit of Vampire Hunter D till we're waiting to start.
It'll be interesting to see if the person understands that I'm playing a character, or if what I say actually gets under their skin so fucking much that they don't understand the irony of me making a character
So,
and then falling for it.
you haven't seen this video, correct?
Oh no, no, this is going to be blind. We're both going into this for the first time.
Hmm. Well, considering he labeled the front of the video with the claim that you were a liar, I'm gonna take a reasonable assumption that the video is pretty antagonistic.
When are the videos about me antagonistic?
Yeah, but that one is like more so direct. There's been some videos that have been like more neutral, and then when you get into the video, they're like, oh, they're just making like a bunch of fallacious claims. I don't know. We'll see for ourselves.
Even though I literally explained in the video, I'm playing a character. It's called a heel.
Mm-hmm. It's called the Blaze.
There are two people behind this monitor. You have Balrog Blaze, who is the persona heel, who will say and do anything to pop the boys and get a laugh. And then you have Kyle,
You know,
who is happy to sit here and explain things to people who actually want to learn.
are you telling me that you play the character when you make videos, and when you make response videos, you have to act as yourself?
Damn, it's almost.
What is this Bruce Wayne Batman nonsense that you're doing here?
Damn, it's almost like I'm not this much of an asshole in life. If only they came to the streams.
Power scaler by video, regular person by response. I don't know if they can take that. Actually, they might warm up a little bit more to me then, because I don't change my position whether I'm making like a video or not. I guess the way I script things is like a little more methodical, but that's it.
I'd
My
love to
position
find.
is the same.
I'd love to find a way how I can expand like the side of the chat so I can read the whole thing because I get like half of what people say and then I have to like interpret.
Fortunately, we don't have to deal with that weird problem we had on. Oh, there we go. We don't have to deal with that weird problem anymore on the chat where I think it was like a year or two ago when I was still doing streams on Zim's channel like routinely. I mean, we're kind of back to it, but it's mostly like his streams. It was when we were trying to read the chat, and the bottom right-hand portion of the chat was obscured by the main emoji thing, like the heart. But like I couldn't read the words that people were trying to put when they were at like the 180 character limit because it was being cut off by the heart, and it was so infuriating. I feel like, guys, I need you to spread your sentences. YouTube doesn't want knowledge to be spread. YouTube doesn't want us to socially communicate.
No. Alright. We got 2 people, which is good. But I think we'll gather a few more once the video starts. So, I believe...
Gathering a flock.
What I'll do is, I'll start the video, and chat can let me know if they want it louder or quieter.
Hello everyone. Let me introduce myself. I'm Dante.
Oh my fucking god, it's another AI video. Can you people use your fucking voice? Jesus Christ.
Oh wait, we're starting?
Oh, well, I was just doing a soundbite to see if the chat wants it louder or softer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a power scaler, and as you read in the title, today...
Oh, brother. By the way, chat, louder or softer. Also, man, I'm not gonna have to listen to half an hour of a person using the most monotone fucking AI, am I? They do realize if you're gonna use AI, there are literally sites you can use that have AIs of personality now. I don't mind if people use it, just not the generic. This is the person who reads off like Reddit posts AI.
So I forgot to mention, if this is 30 minutes, it would make it a little bit easier if we put it at 1.25 times the speed.
Do you want me to put it at 2 times?
Because it will. Yeah, sometimes I do 1.5 default because there's a lot of filler words in most of the sentences for these response videos. There's just a lot of unnecessary information that could just be like thrown out. So that's what the 1.5 speed is for. So, and the first time we go through it probably won't take that long because we'll just be like watching it for its own sake. So it will take less than like 16 minutes.
Well,
Jeremy.
No one's commenting on the volume of the video, so I'm assuming that that's fine for them.
It's fine for me currently. If it's not too loud for you, then it should be good for everybody.
Alright, well, I guess with that being said, we'll both shut up and we'll watch it go down.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. You may begin when you are good and ready.
Today I'm going to debunk a certain fake power scaler named Balrog Blaze, the structural buffer. Please excuse my simple editing, but this is my first video.
I'm getting an echo, but I don't know if that's because of the program you're using.
Could be too close.
And maybe it's like repeating.
Could be too close to the mic. How's that? Is that better?
Let's try it again. Just like unpause it.
Now, first of all, who is Balrog Blaze? As I said,
Still echoing?
Perfect. Is this about Alex Mercer scaling Ian? Yeah, probably. We'll find out.
Well, apparently I'm a fake power scaler. How am I a fake power scaler? I've literally done other videos on other series. If I'm a fake power scaler, then I'm the best.
You haven't.
I'm the best goddamn fake out there. Actually, well, that's pretty apt. I am like Alex. I am a perfect fake. Alright. I won't be snippy. It's time to continue. It is fucking half an hour.
Yes.
He's a power scaler, a huge fan of the Prototype video game series and its characters. So fanatic that the guy was able to do the most questionable scaling of the saga and falsify the words of my friend Dan Jolly, the writer of works like Dying Light, The Storm, and the one that interests us.
Oh, I fucking called it.
We're not stopping it to go through it, right? We're just...
No, I'm going to address this now. I know where this person got this fucking idea from. I am going to make this very clear. One last time.
You can
I
in the second round.
Did not contact Dan myself. I got the video when I screen recorded it from somebody else. I did not contact him directly. I want this to be clear once and for all. So all of you who think that I contacted him, no, I did not. I did not lie about anything in the DMs. I was lied to. That's a difference. That makes me a sucker, not a liar. There are differences.
Again,
This video,
we can respond to that when we
Prototype
get to
2,
it.
as I already mentioned, Balrog was able to falsify Mr. Jolly's statements to buff his characters to stratospheric levels.
Hold it.
That's right, for those who've already seen the hour-long video, I'm afraid to say that almost everything Balrog said and showed is false, from the chats with Mr. Jolly to some of the ways to climb Mercer. But that last bit will be
How did I
subject to
fucking
debunk another day.
Did
In
he
this video,
forward that
I'm
my-
simply going to show some of the
that my
questions
scaling was
Balrog
based
asked
on the
and the
DM
supposed
video?
answers alongside the real answers to those same questions. From questions about whether the
Yes.
Prototype 2 DLC are canon or not, or to the stupidity about Alex being able to move the sun. That's right, as stupid as it sounds. There are certain Aboriginal people who, for some reason, think that a simple virus is capable of moving the sun in some magical way, continuing with the question of whether Alex or James can control their atoms, even if in Prototype 1 it is made clear that Alex...
This will be the last time I do this, but I have acknowledged publicly that I was lied to and have denounced the DM video. If you don't believe me, go to the recent comments of the Alex versus Colt video. When I found out, I did denounce it.
Alex can control his body only down to a cellular level. Moving on to the dumb question about whether the enhancement icons are canon. Yes, the same ones that show things like James being overweight or shooting out like a cannonball with a fancy hat and glasses. Those same icons that are clearly just a comical exaggeration. Among the other questions I'll show along with the actual answers given to me by Dan Jolly, the official writer of Prototype 2. As you can see, the actual answers I'm presenting to you at this point don't match at all with what Balrog Blaze presented in his video. The screenshots he showed were manipulated, taken out of context, or completely fabricated. The worst of all, he had the nerve to use the name of a real author to back up completely unfounded claims. Even when someone discovered the conversation was fake and warned him, Balrog had the nerve to say that Dan himself had sent him the script of the real conversation with which he would make another video, which is false, as you can see in the screenshots I'm showing. And since I'm sure screenshots alone won't convince the weirdos who think Alex is all-powerful, well, below is a
Okay, so he's aware that I found out and I'm fixing that problem. I'm sorry I haven't got to it. Do I have a life outside of this? My fucking apologies.
27-minute video of Mr. Jolly himself talking about the subject. All credits go to Mr. Jolly.
My name is Dan Jolly. I've been a professional writer for better than 30 years now. I have written for every major comic book company in the country. I live in the United States. I have written media tie-in novels and original novels. I've written children's books. I've dabbled a little bit in screenplays. And in 2007. I don't have a script for this. This is just kind of off the cuff. In 2007, I started working in video games. Around 2010, I was hired to work on a game called Prototype 2. I did the job. I was a contractor. I was a freelancer. The job ended. I have since, that was 15 years ago, I have written a boatload of other stuff since then. Well, fast forward to last November of 2024. I got contacted by a guy on Facebook. I'm not going to give you the name that he used on Facebook because I am not sure about the legal implications of a bunch of this stuff. This guy contacted me and he had a whole bunch of questions about Prototype 2. So we had a long Facebook chat about it, and I answered his questions. I thought some of them were kind of nutty, but I told him what I thought. And that's an important thing here. this is just my opinion, what I was giving this guy. I don't own the property. I never owned the property. I'm a freelancer. I was like a hired gun working on Prototype 2. Activision owned the property. Activision is the ones who make the decisions. So we finished chatting and I didn't think anything else about it. Until a few months after that, I started getting contacted again by more people who were big fans of Prototype 2. Prototype, the first game and the second game. And a lot of them were asking me the same kinds of questions that the first guy did. Now, I'm going to refer to the first guy as Tacky Jack. I don't have a real good reason for that. Tacky Jack's is the name of a restaurant chain. And Tacky Jack very, very vaguely resembles the name that he was using on Facebook, which he has since changed, so I don't know who Tacky Jack is. But over the course of finding out about, or over the course of being contacted by these other guys who had more questions, I found out that there is a YouTuber who goes by the name of Balrog Blaze. And I was told that Balrog Blaze had made a video claiming that he had talked to me. And in this video, he had put up the chat log that was supposed to prove that I agreed with him and that validated all of these opinions and questions and whatnot that he had about the Prototype franchise. The weird thing was that these new guys, I'll call one of them Gabriel and I'll call one of them ZBrush. Again, nicknames, not any really good reason for this, except in my own head. Gabriel and ZBrush both started telling me about how Balrog had talked to me and that I validated everything that he had to say. And then one of them sent me a video, I guess the video that Balrog had posted that had all of my responses. I started looking at that video pretty closely, and it didn't take very long at all for me to realize that the answers that I gave, a lot of the answers that I gave, had been changed. Now, ZBrush went on to tell me that he talked to Balrog Blaze directly, and that Balrog claimed to be surprised that the responses from me in that video had been changed, had been altered. ZBrush told me that Balrog was very unhappy about having been made out to be a liar. I've never spoken to Balrog unless he was Tacky Jack. I don't know. But there's two things here. There's the difference between my opinion and the actual canon. I don't control the actual canon. I didn't create the property. I wrote the main story for Prototype 2. I contributed in many ways to the characters, the way a freelance writer does. But my word is not law as far as what the canon is. However, what I said in that chat is not being portrayed accurately in the video that Balrog put out there. And that's what I want to clear up in this video. So this is the video where I set the record straight about what I actually said to, I said these things to Tacky Jack, and then they showed up on Balrog's channel. I don't know if that means those two people are one and the same or not. But, so, I'm gonna put up screenshots of the chat that I still have, and I'm also gonna put up screenshots of the video that Balrog was putting out. And they're easy to distinguish because the shots that I got of Balrog's video are kind of blurry. You can still read everything, but I basically was making a copy of a copy. Starts out with him asking me about, can Alex regenerate from a single atom? And I'm putting this up to show that I said in the chat itself, I'm not the owner of the canon, I don't make the final decisions. And his second question is about some icons from the game, one of which showed, and they were for like special abilities, for special moves.
Okay, so none of this is going over the actual power scaling, this is going over everything in the DMs.
How much video have we gone through at this point? 10 minutes, I believe?
If this is going to be everything going through the DMs, again,
okay.
I wasn't aware that these were fake. I didn't know people could fake things that I was screen recording at the time. That's my bad.
We'll address that. We'll address that.
Well, if he's just going to go, if he's just going to go through the
just
video, the same thing that I'm going to do we need to continue?
Well, so if he's just gonna go through the video and he's gonna address it, then my position is that we're just looking at, because we agreed to look at the video and see what they have to say, so we understand what they're gonna say, and then we go back and give our thought on it. That was what I thought we were gonna do, and then we just address everything that they said. It's that simple.
I mean, I'm happy to continue, but again, he's pretty much just doing what I was going to do anyway, which is fine.
I already have like enough answers for these, and they're pretty easy. Yeah, but the difference is that this person that responded to you doesn't actually have the information that you're aware of, and he wasn't the one that contacted the guy.
He's also
that contacted this writer.
Well, the person, because I'll out them because they've changed their name and deleted their thing on Discord. William D. Weber, because you'll know that name because I basically give him congrats at the end of the Alex vs. Cole video. He's the one that I got this DMs off, and I gave him an ass blasting when I found out that these were fake, because again, I've always tried to be truthful, but let's be very clear here. I didn't know these were fake either. That's my bad. I should have double checked. That's my bad. That's my bad, and I do denounce it. But 60% of what is in the DMs is real. It's only anything doing with power scaling that has been altered. And I find it funny that people think that I'm technologically savvy enough to Photoshop. I've got a friend you can talk to, and he'll laugh you out of the room, called Zimatorn, if you think that I'm technologically savvy enough to Photoshop. I can barely use paint.
His icons, and one of them showed James Heller splitting the moon in half, and he wanted to know if they were legit.
Already watched the video.
And as you can see, no, I don't think that was legit. That was artistic license. Nothing in the story would indicate that James Heller or Alex Mercer, the protagonist from the first game, were in any way powerful enough to split the moon. And then he asked, would I consider the DLCs to be canon? And I said to him, to Tacky Jack, if Activision put them out, I'd consider them canon. Yeah. Well, I, at the time, did not know what the DLCs were about. I didn't know what was in them. So now that I have been told what the DLCs were about, they don't sound like canon to me. But again, I don't control the franchise. I was a hired gun. Then he says, he asks me a question and says that if I agree with him on this, it will change the prototype franchise forever. And wants to know if James Heller and Alex Mercer can alter their body.
I do want to say that all these questions proposed to him are very fucking disgusting and leading questions to begin with. Like, you shouldn't go out and bother writers, directors, or anything like that for stuff like this. If you want to learn about the law, ask about the law. Don't ask about power scaling.
Is on the atomic level. And I said, no, I don't think so. I think it's probably on the molecular level. And here's where it starts getting interesting. Because he went in and changed my answer. So since atoms make up molecules, the atoms get rearranged. They can deliberately decide whether they want to affect the atoms themselves or not. Yeah, I didn't say that. What I said was, when he asked, are they capable of affecting atoms too? I wouldn't think so, not directly. It's just molecules. So whenever Alex transforms, he causes weather to change. Now, apparently this is a big deal. Apparently, Balrog decided that because there was a special effect that when Alex Mercer uses certain powers, it got dark around him. And he tilted the camera up and saw that when that happened, the sun went skidded across the sky. And this is the answer that he claims I gave. It's a thing that was intended to happen, so it's legit. Now, here's a couple of the responses that I actually gave him. And I don't think that there's any... I mean, of course they don't. Of course they don't move the sun. How is a virus that lets you rearrange your body's molecules help you make you able to move? It makes no sense at all. And my speculation was that somebody decided that they wanted things to get dark around the character when they use their power. And the easiest and fastest way to do that was to speed up the skybox. Now, I don't know for sure that that's what happened because that's on the art side. I was not on the art side. I was on the narrative side. But just the idea that James Heller or Alex Mercer could affect the sun Makes no sense whatsoever. And he mentioned Elizabeth Green, and Elizabeth Green only showed up in Prototype 1. I didn't work on Prototype 1. I don't have that much to say about Prototype 1, stuff that happened only in that game. Here's where he changed one of my answers. It's definitely a thing that happened. And I'm not about to argue with the lead developer, especially on a game I didn't work on, and he wants to know if it's canon. And, that's not really up to me to decide, because I don't know the canon, as I've repeatedly said. But no, I don't think there's any way anyone in the franchise affected the path of the sun. So, is there an explanation as to how Alex's power is somehow able to move the sun? And he said, according to him, he said, no, I don't know exactly how it happened, I forgot. No, I never said that. So, then we get into this thing about the ability muscle mass. Okay, also had a question about the muscle mass ability. We know it increases Alex's strength by 6 times factor. And this response that he has down from me, honestly, while muscle mass primarily focuses on increasing Alex's strength, I didn't say any of that. That entire response from me right there is made up out of whole cloth. It's an invention. Okay, so what do you think about consumption as an exponential increase, like growing 2 times stronger? And no, I don't think that's an accurate thing. I don't think it's a practical
Balrog,
thing.
you might pause me for a moment.
What's up?
Okay, we're at 16 minutes. What's the speed we're currently traveling at on this?
Oh, 1.5.
Do you want to try and bump it up to 2? Because I feel like we could probably go a little faster, because it does seem like this entire thing is just going to be this guy responding to the DMs.
No, it is, because I literally I literally went to the scrub bar, and that's literally all it is. So that's fine. I don't mind bumping it up and finishing the video, but as he clearly knows.
I mean,
well, he clearly knows I didn't.
I was under the impression that there'd be more.
I was under the impression he was going to attack my actual arguments in the video, not just this one bit.
Or the premise of the information in the video would be a more accurate assessment, because the video is about explaining. I mean, was that for the James Heller video, or was that for the other one regarding Alex and Cole?
The whole DM log itself showed up in Alex versus Cole. So again.
Okay, then
again,
this is something they would need to address. I feel like this is kind of getting away from the broader point. I understand why they're doing this, but it's getting.
I understand why they're doing this. The problem with it is.
Has nothing to do with this author.
No, what this is this is basically a giant video trying to discredit my information, but it's like all you're doing is basically showing that yes, I was wrong about the DMs. Again, that's my bad.
Also,
my arguments
again, I'll get my thoughts on this later.
Also, my thoughts, like my opinions on where Alex sat, had nothing to do with the DMs. The DMs were only ever used for additional evidence. They were not the main arguments I went with. And the fact that he, at the start of the video, he had the nerve to say that I lied and that I contacted him, and Dan literally says that, like, I didn't contact him. That's not my Facebook. If Dan ends up seeing this, I'm the person who emailed you and told you that Balrog didn't know, and emailed you so I could get the actual transcript. I am in the process of making a video on it, but again, I have a life outside of this. Things get in the way. It also doesn't help that I'm working on 2 massive videos at the moment as well.
Well, you should probably explain that you're also, like, you just woke up like an hour ago. You sound like you've died.
Yeah, well, it's like 20 to 6 in the morning here. And I got up at like 4:30 to do this. I was gearing up.
Yes.
I was gearing up to tackle actual questions about the power scaling. I was not basically here to basically be ready to sit here and watch an entire video of Dan going through the DM logs, which
Yeah,
is
that's fine.
good for him for doing. But I was gearing up to go to war so I can actually explain scaling. I wasn't basically expecting to sit here and get dressed down for something I didn't do. So this is actually kind of a, how do I put it? This video is kind of a lie of the title. You're not calling me out. You're correcting a mistake. But let's get to the main reason why this person got this in the first place. Not Dan, the person doing the actual video.
Hang on, I'm gonna swap over.
Yeah. So the main reason this person is doing this in the first place is he's trying to discredit the entire video in itself, as if all my arguments were based solely on the DMs and not the mountains of evidence I have from guidebooks in the game.
Balrog, you're kind of tired at the moment, so maybe let me take this. We're just going through it first to look at it, and then we can address it. We're almost done. Let us finish. We're like 16 minutes in. Well, we're so close.
I always thought that when Mercer or Heller consumed someone, it added a little bit, like refilling the fuel tank. And he keeps at it. The prototypes and Evolve get 2 times stronger every day. And I said, I don't think any of them get twice as strong every day. It was a slow, gradual process. And if you got twice as strong every day, that would it's like an exponential thing. You would get godlike, like immediately. It makes no sense. And also, was the increase like stagnant after the final upgrade, or is there no limit to how much his powers can increase? In this response right here, no, the increase isn't stagnant after the final upgrade. Theoretically, if Alex were to continue evolving, there'd be no inherent limit to how much his powers can increase. I didn't say any of that. That's another one that's just completely invented. I don't know. I mean, that's like not based on a response of mine. That is not a response of mine in any way. Never said it. And oh yeah, and this is going to be important. Where he says, "Were you the lead in the project?" I was the writer. I was the writer that they hired. I was not the lead developer. So then he has this long question here about the evolved and prototypes and getting stronger over time, kind of covering ground we've already covered. Since they can affect other infected bodies, mentions Dr. Gutierrez, and then another example where this is attributed to me. Yes, they get stronger on the fly, and their body constantly adapts every second. Nope, never said that. Never said any of that. That's just someone making stuff up. Who? I don't know. I mean, I assume it was Tactic Jack. This is what I actually had to say. I don't know that they get stronger over time so much as they just get better. And then, do the evolved have potential for growth like the prototypes? Can an evolved become a prototype? Once again, I'd say yes. I think Mercer was the absolute peak until he created someone even stronger in Heller. Those two are the most powerful, and we'll probably say that way unless something else comes along. What I actually said was, I think Mercer was the absolute peak until he accidentally created someone even stronger in Heller. Those two are the most powerful, and will probably stay that way. His question: can the prototypes and evolved's abilities grow endlessly? Like a prototype 1 that can change their body on a cellular level, according to the artist, and guides on the molecular level. The prototype 2, they say they can change it again on the molecular level. And this response attributed to me. Yeah, as I've stated, I think it's a molecular level to atomic level ability. They don't have any limit, and any of their abilities could grow endlessly. Nope, never said that. What I actually said, as demonstrated right here, I'm sure there's some sort of upper limit to the ability that hasn't been reached yet. Next question. If Prototype 3 would happen, would it still follow James or a different protagonist? And if a different one, would they met James eventually? And this is my favorite one out of this whole bit. That would be up to Activision. I was also the former president. The company's name was Radical. Radical with a C, not Radial. I was also the former president of Radical Entertainment. If it were up to me, the protagonist would probably be Heller's daughter as an adult. Now, this is what I actually said. I was never the head of Radical. Why would I? I am a writer. That is, professionally, that is all I have ever been. That is all I have ever wanted to be. That is what I intend to be until I die. I have never been a studio head. The closest I've gotten to a position of leadership is I've been lead writer in a few projects. Head of Radical? I mean, can't you just Google Radical Entertainment in 2010 and find out who it was? I think it was Ken Rossman. Why? I don't know. There was an interview where Prototype 1 and 2 was intended to have multiplayer, this is not an enormous difference, but just, I'd say yes, that would be up to the gameplay designers. That's what he says I said. What I actually said was, that would be up to the gameplay designers. Why make that change? Why change something that is so close to the actual... it's baffling. Now here he goes into a long string of questions, just one after the other. I didn't have a chance to respond because he sent them all at once. This was just it's a whole huge column of questions in one huge stack. So I split them up, and I'm going to show you what they were, and then my responses to them. So working radios and phones, Prototype 3 would happen, and if I had the opportunity, I would make it about James Heller's daughter, Amaya, who coincidentally was named after a friend of my niece's. What does Dana do? I would say Dana sticks around and helps James raise his daughter. If a prototype would obey Blackwatch, would they allow them to fight with them? I don't know. It would depend on the story, I guess. These are all legitimate answers. Legitimate questions, legitimate answers. Blacklight has been stated and shown multiple times in the games to evolve on the fly. Increases strength, Supreme Hunter fights, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know. I know the answer to that. I don't know, maybe. Now, here's where things start to diverge from the truth again. At what point during Prototype 1 did the Supreme Hunter consume Robert Cross and did Cross put up a fight or was he easily dispatched? And Tactic Jack says that I forgot that I'd say he put up a good fight. What I actually said was, that was in prototype 1, so I don't have details. Do you think that Supreme Hunter's statement regarding the nuke being able to vaporize Manhattan was a fluke? With his statement of being able to withstand a bomb once he has consumed Alex? And he says that I said, no, he has no reason to lie. Whereas what I actually said was, as I have told you before, I don't think any of them could survive a nuke. And that's like direct hit with a nuke, ground zero with a nuke. I think that would do it. How did the black light come to be? Was it from space or was it something natural formed on the planet? And according to him, I said, I don't remember. What I actually said was, I think scientists created it, probably by accident. Black light absorbs and processes all of the data in a second, as seen in Stealth, Consumes, and the prototype comics. Does that mean that Alex processed all of the data of the virus in Elizabeth Green's body in less than a second? That's crazy, as it was stated to be as old as life itself in the Prima Guide. Okay, a word about the guides. I've never had anything to do with the writing of the guides. No one on the guide reached out to me. Take that as you will. The answer I supposedly gave was, well, yeah, I guess, though this does make me wonder how fast Alex really is. What I actually said was, I still, as I've told you, don't think Alex or Heller absorbed someone's entire life. I think they absorbed the information they were looking for. Each enemy that Alex and Heller consume makes them stronger, but we also know that the enemies themselves get stronger to catch up to them. Like with the hunters that apparently consume each other to keep up with them, does that mean if they absorb, like, say, even a brawler near the end game, it makes them at least twice as strong? And I don't understand why he's so hung up on this twice as strong thing that is not as nonsensical as as Heller or Mercer moving the sun, but it still doesn't make an enormous amount of sense. And he says that I said, twice as strong? Sure. What I actually said was, twice as strong? No. As I've said, I think it's like refilling a fuel tank and they get gradually stronger. Almost done. Elizabeth Green can use an infectious wave of energy just out of curiosity. It's a pure energy because they look like one. And, okay, almost as baffling as claiming that I was head of Radical. Oh yes, one of my friends worked on P1. I remember our conversation we had at a party where we discussed lore elements. When asked if Elizabeth Green's wave is pure energy, I can confirm that it is indeed pure energy, which she sends around the player during the boss fight. I never said any of that. Not one word. That is an entirely fictitious response. Why? Why come up with the party with it? What I actually said was, I already told you, I don't have details about stuff in P1 because I didn't work on it. I don't know what was intended for Green. Neither Alex nor Heller can manipulate pure energy. And that's apparently something that's been discussed because Elizabeth Green was shooting like what looked like balls of energy. There's been some discussion of, does this mean that Alex Mercer or James Heller could move faster than light? No. That makes absolutely no sense. If you can see something moving, if you can see, like, if you turn on a flashlight, can you see the beam travel across the room until it hits the wall? No. If you can see these attacks moving, if you can dodge them, no, it's not faster than... Anyway. So then back to the upgrade icons. Once again, he asks, are the upgrade icons canon? Someone of them shows Heller levitating and other stuff, and he says that I said, are they canon? I'd say yes. So this is the actual question and response. Are the upgrade image icons canon? And I said, I had zero to do with the icons. That's strictly art department. So that's it. That should set the record straight on all of this stuff. Did I want to make this video? Do I enjoy seeing myself on camera? Do I enjoy hearing my own voice recorded? No, I didn't want to do this. But I also don't enjoy having a whole bunch of stuff attributed to me when I definitely did not say any of it. So, special thanks to a friend of mine that I will refer to as El Diamante. That's it. Bye.
Well,
And as he should. He shouldn't have things that he said be altered.
Is that the end, or is there like another minute? Because it seems like his entire video was literally just
No, it was just an entire it was just an entire video dressing down the DMs, which has nothing to do with Alex versus Cole. So he's not calling me out. He's not calling me a liar. Because again, Dan says he didn't talk to me, but this person is attributing that I'm the one who DM'd him. So he's already basically poisoning the well and lying because it's convenient. Because if this was just about setting the record straight, he would say that, because I've told this many times, I didn't DM him. This was a mistake on my part for using something I didn't verify properly. But no, he said that I did it because it's trying to discredit an entire video. Again, I didn't use the DMs as support.
Do you have the name of the person that made this video?
Dante Power Scaling.
Really? That's an interesting name. I'm going to look him up right now. And then we're going to go back through this, and then I'm going to give my actual thoughts on this. Oh, wow, that didn't sound correctly.
I mean, like, I don't really have much to say besides from, yeah, my bad, I didn't check properly.
I mean, there's plenty to say, but it's more so in response to what the writer is saying because a lot of that stuff isn't really like relevant. Or oh wow, it's the only video on his channel. Interesting. And he joined. Huh. He joined July 17th, which was a week ago. Hmm. Okay. So he made his account on YouTube and a video for this, or this entire channel just for this? Wow.
Just for me. I live rent free in these people's heads.
All right. Well, it started over, and now I can give my thoughts. If you don't have any thoughts to give, that's fine. But I have plenty of things to say to what was said about this because I think this person, this Dante power scaling person, kind of needs to realize how that what they committed in this video is basically a giant fruit of the poisonous tree fallacy. You're not supposed to assume that like every piece of information that's produced from a source is unverifiable because of one source being unverified. What your position is to go and try to source them, and if that doesn't work, you just don't use them. In the case of Balrog's video, I mean, pretty much most of it came from the games and the guides. I think very little of it actually came from the DMs, which he addressed later. So that kind of doesn't have anything to do with this.
I mean, I don't know how much I can contribute to this besides from like Dan even says a lot of this is his opinion versus what's actually canon. So if people try and take this video and use this to try and discredit things in Prototype, it's like these are Dan's opinions, not the opinions of Activision that owns Prototype.
Do you mind restarting it so that I can address the claims? Yeah. All right. I'm gonna read the chat before we begin. I don't actually mind if he's using AI voice as. Oh wait, hang on. How are you fake posting scans, play the game, etc.? Everything you need to be authentic. Crazy how this guy doesn't have the balls to use his actual video and uses AI. Well, he created his channel like a week ago, so probably wasn't trying to publicly talk about himself in any capacity. Hey, wait, how are you lied to? So in Balrog's case, he wasn't the one that contacted this writer. Someone else reached out to him with a conversation that he had with that guy. And some parts of that conversation he had fabricated, but not the entire conversation, which is also something that, while Dan Joby does talk about that, he didn't really do a good job of actually explaining that, like, yeah, I mean, some of my responses were actually there, because that kind of matters. That was the whole point of the conversation, was specifically about sourcing information and the reliability of sourcing information. But secondly, the person who provided that conversation was not Balrog. Balrog didn't doctor that information. That was a completely different person. And he found out about it after the fact. That's not the same thing.
I found out about it.
Lying.
I found out about it months later. And when I did find out, you can ask Mangler and you can ask him, I was less than pleased to find out that I was lied to.
I don't actually mind if he's using an AI voice as long as it's okay to hear, and his AI voice is all right. I mean, for the most part, it didn't really seem to be his video. It was more like Dan Joby's video, because he just plugged a video of the writer talking over him the entire time. So it wasn't even really his video. He wasn't doing anything. He was using the writer itself to discredit the conversation, as if that has anything to do with the subject at hand. You never said Alex is all powerful, just as abilities are niche that makes him hard to counter for a lot of things. Is this video just the writer talking? Yes, it is just the writer talking. So he's calling you a liar for not knowing that someone gave you fake information that you thought was trustworthy? Yep. What's going on here? We're responding to a video. I feel like he's disagreeing with your main points out of spite because he's pissed about the forgery. Probably. I thought he would have done more than just not just the DM portion. No, because that would imply that this person was interested. See, I don't know what this person's main goal is because, again, as I pointed out, the channel that made this video has only existed for like 7 or 8 days on YouTube. And allegedly, it's called Dante Power Scaling. So you would assume it's about the act of power scaling. And here he is responding to a power scaling video. It would be like me making a channel to talk in response to someone making videos about biology. And then I spent the entire time talking about a conversation made by a biologist about what they did or did not say, and not all of the other like studies or information presented in a video made about biology, because I was pissed off that a conversation in there was forged. Yeah, like it's okay to be pissed off about the conversation being forged, but you also need to address the content in the video. That's the whole point of talking about it, especially if you're allegedly a power scaler. That's kind of
Well,
silly.
what both this person and Dan should have done.
It's very fraudulent.
Well, what this person and Dan should have done is not just highlight what was wrong in the DMs, but also highlight what hasn't been changed.
I mean, so this is the thing I don't understand is like, if the DMs weren't in there, what would even be the point of responding to your video? Because if his issue is just the DMs, like there's 126 minutes of runtime in that video. You can't tell me 126 minutes of that runtime is contributed just to those scans. It's not. I know that for a fact. I've seen it multiple times. Let me read the rest of this. The fact that they need... oh, wait. How many points? Also, Dan seems to have no clue about his own game anymore. I'll go through his positions and see what he has to say about it. Because I have my own thoughts about what an author's position are after they've like moved away from the company they're in. Just having the fact that they would think that you need to have the fact they think you would have the tech savviness needed to fake these DMs, make a new FB account, etc. Just having one section of video that has unknown information doesn't discredit all the information meant in its question. Well, that's what the fruit of the poisonous tree fallacy is. It's basically a principle in criminal justice that something that we're taught when you're learning CJ, that generally, if a piece of evidence is contaminated, that contaminates the legitimacy and the validity of the ability to use other parts of it. Usually, in this case, illegally acquiring a piece of information makes it impossible for someone like the police to use the rest of the information. The same thing can be applied to having sources. If someone provides a set of sources, someone would potentially argue that, like, yes, you could argue that the validity of that is a question. Well, you can still attempt to verify it. You just have to use a different method for doing so. It doesn't make it. What makes it a fallacy is that you're claiming that the entire set of information isn't considered valid. And as this guy's video just demonstrated, there's a good portion of that conversation that's still real. And secondly, Balrog's video doesn't require the video. Doesn't require the DM conversation. It had nothing to do with that. That was just something that was featured in there.
It was
I
supported.
understand why they're upset about that, but it is completely missing the point entirely. You are so far off the mark. You're in like another country. You have no idea where you are. Your focus is so removed.
It was supportive evidence and nothing more. But I know what this video was trying to do. This video is basically a giant thing to try and be like, this is wrong, so the entire video must be wrong. Because he's not addressing my scaling. So he clearly thinks that all my scaling comes from these DMs, which it doesn't.
I'm almost done reading the rest of these, but then we can start it. He probably thinks that because Dan said Alex and Mercer can't move the speed of light, therefore they can't, they're not FTL. Probably. I feel sorry for you waking up so early for this bullshit. To be fair, I told him to wake up later, but he was like, no, I'll be busy.
I live on the other side of the world from Mangler. I don't have a choice.
listen, guys, he's just like, I'm busy. I'm too busy. It's probably true. I'm not saying it's not. Just saying he's dying of his own accord. He just made the channel too. Yes. Dan is saying that the DLCs are not canon. The virus is made in a lab by accident. Just looks like spit towards you.
Well,
Dan is exposing the Balrog as a liar, allegedly, probably attempting to.
well, we'll get
I
to
know
it.
Dan understands the context. So here's what I think has happened, and I'll explain this. I think this guy, not Dan, not the writer that's talking about, the guy that made this video hates Balrog. Dan has been given only this information from other people and is making his perspective off this and is just giving his honest opinion. So what I'm assuming is the case is that this channel is very specifically spiteful towards Balrog and is using this writer as a tool to get their position across. It's not a genuine point or reaction, I don't think. That's separate from the claims, man. Yeah, that's the part I'm confused about. God, if it all turns out it was a lie, I'm going to feel terrible. What specifically? El Cazador. See you all later. I'll catch you later. I got to clock back in for work on break. Oh, later, Triple. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for visiting.
Yes. All right, Kylo, you can start it. Now we can actually respond to what was said. Because we like to go through the video to see what you have to say, and then we give our thoughts. Because that is how we break these things down. I was just reading the chat. We can still watch it at 2 times the speed, though. It's fine.
Yes. I am learning to be better to not react the first time I see things, but, you know, steady progress.
Yes.
Hello everyone. Let me introduce myself.
Right.
I'm Dante, a power scaler, and as you read in the title, today I'm going to debunk a certain fake power scaler named Balrog Blaze, the structural buffer. Please excuse my simple editing, but this is my first video. Now, first of all, who is Balrog Blaze? As I said, he's a power scaler, a huge fan of the prototype video game series and its characters. So fanatic that the guy was able to do the most questionable scaling of the saga and falsify the words of my friend Dan Jolly, the writer of works like...
Okay, so first claim, he claimed that he falsified the words of his friend Dan Joby. He did not falsify the words of your Dan Joby. Some random asshole on the internet did that. So you're already incorrect. You refuted nothing. Moving on.
Yes. Again, as I said at the start of the video, it doesn't make me a liar. It makes me a sucker because I didn't know.
Oh, look, he's here. Hey, baby, look at me. Just at the beginning, I know how to disprove your scaling and prove that you're a horrible power scaler. Just wait. I mean, you already, we're already 36 seconds into the video, and you already made a mistake. You already claimed something that was a lie.
You claimed something that was a lie, and you didn't debunk shit. All you did was basically do something I was intending to do anyway, which is already brought up in the process of making a video going over the DMs and what changes and what doesn't change.
I was assuming he was going to make a video about the
I assumed you were actually going to try and go over actual scaling, not just the DMs, because I'm not sure if you're aware of this. My prototype scaling is not derived from the DMs. The DMs were supposed to be supporting evidence, not evidence itself. I can make all these claims without the DMs.
Let's continue.
And the one that interests us in this video, Prototype 2. As I already mentioned, Balrog was able to falsify Mr. Jolly's statements to buff his characters to stratospheric levels. That's right, for those who've already seen the hour-long video, I'm afraid to say that almost everything Balrog said and showed is false, from the chats with Mr. Jolly to some of the ways to climb Mercer. But that last bit will be something to debunk another day. In this video, I'm simply going to show some of the questions Balrog asked and the supposed answers alongside the real answers to those same questions. From questions.
He is coming back another day, allegedly.
Did you just make this?
All right.
Did you just make this channel just in spite of me? I'm honored that I live rent-free in your head.
I mean, it's not something that's uncommon on the internet. Some people do exist with spite to another. But maybe he has some legitimate claims to see in that video. I don't know. I'll hold back any sort of aspects of
I don't know. If you're here and you feel like that you can beat me in a debate when it comes to Alex versus Cole or Prototype or Infamous, hit me up. We'll debate. And we'll do it live.
Let's just get through. let's just get through examining this, because there's a lot of claims that are made in here that I have some issues with.
About whether the prototype 2 DLC are canon or not. Or to the stupidity about Alex being able to move the sun. That's right, as stupid as it sounds. There are certain Aboriginal people who, for some reason, think that a simple virus is capable of
I think when you put it into the when you put these words into the AI, you need to check that it says something, because I don't know if you mean to say Aboriginal or if you're looking for a different word. Like, it has nothing to do with the argument. It's just hearing it twice like takes me out of it.
He said something like a simple virus, like the black light. What about the black light implies that it is a simple or an ordinary virus? Have you read any sort of science fiction or any meaningful series with biological viruses or biological warfare? Because a virus that can molecularly change your entire structure, eat organic and non-organic beings, and regenerate you from like puddles, and then also create centers of mass. That's not a normal virus.
And can also
I wouldn't even call it a virus. And the guidebooks confirm that it's not even a normal virus. It's the basis of all life on the planet. That's not a simple virus. That's not even a virus. That's just an organic life form at that point.
The way you say simple,
like a genuine organic life form.
The way you say simple virus tells me everything I need to know about your knowledge of prototype, which means you have shit all.
Listen. I'm just saying I take issue with that terminology, because there's nothing simple about the black.
moving the sun in some magical way, continuing with the question of whether Alex or James can control their atoms, even if in prototype when it is made clear that Alex can control his body only down to a cellular level. Moving on to the dumb question about whether the enhancement icons are canon. Yes, the same ones that show things like James being overweight or shooting out like a cannonball with a fancy hat and
As
glasses.
far as okay, so he said it made it clear that he can control it down to the cellular level. That is incorrect. It's directly stated he can regenerate molecularly.
It's also
First of
stated.
all, if you were to regenerate cellularly, you would only be capable of regenerating things to the extent of stuff inside of your body, and I guess like the edge of your skin, maybe at the best parts of like your limbs. To regenerate your molecules is basically to regenerate the very like DNA of your body. That's what's needed to regenerate from things like vapor and ash and stuff like that. You would need a highly advanced level of like cellular makeup to be able to do, or not cellular, biological makeup to do something like that. That is not cellular level regeneration. So that's incorrect. That's not what's confirmed in the games.
It's also shown it in interviews and stated in the guidebook that he can control his molecules.
Yeah, I mean, if you can control your molecules, you're not controlling cells. Molecules are smaller than cells. They're the things that make up a cell. Just want to clarify that in case you missed some lessons in biology. Okay, continue.
Or just skip school.
Those same icons that are clearly just a comical exaggeration. Among the other questions I'll show along with the actual answers given to me by Dan Jolly, the official writer of Prototype 2. As you can see, the actual answers I'm presenting to you at this point don't match at all with what Balrog Blaze presented in his video. The screenshots he showed were manipulated, taken out of context, or completely fabricated. The worst of all, he had the nerve to use the name of a real author to back up completely unfounded claims. Even when someone discovered the conversation was fake and warned him, Balrog had the nerve to say that Dan himself had sent him the script of the real conversation with which he would make another video, which is false. As you can see in this...
It's false that he would make another video? Wow, this guy sounds like a prophet, because it seems like he can tell the future. Apparently you won't be making another video, Balrog. I don't know if you knew that.
Yes, you dolt. I told him that I'd be making another video, but not under my name Balrog Blaze. I contacted him under my actual name on Facebook and email. You fucking dolt. You fucking Neanderthal. I use my real name and not my persona name, so I could actually get the information without any kind of anything antagonistic going on when I talk to him. Because I don't know what you people fucking told him about me.
Yeah.
screenshots I'm showing. And since I'm sure screenshots alone won't convince the weirdos who think Alex is all-powerful, well, below is a 27-minute video of Mr. Jolly himself talking about the subject. All credits go to Mr. Jolly.
So
You
even in the
27 video. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna point in here. Does this come from like an actual channel from Mr. Jolly, or is it just like a 27 video that he recorded and then provided to this guy, which was then put onto his channel? I don't think he links a channel for this guy.
I couldn't tell you. But he basically just points out this entire video is basically just made out of spite for one section of the video that, if you take it away, doesn't change any of the evidence that I've provided in the video.
Yeah, well, we'll see. For the chat, sorry that we're not answering your questions at the moment. We're just kind of like trying to go through this as quickly as possible. Then we will answer all your questions. So put your questions down there, and then we will directly go through them.
My name is Dan Jolly. I've been a professional writer for better than 30 years now. I have written for every major comic book company in the country. I live in the United States. I have written media tie-in novels and original novels. I've written children's books. I've dabbled a little bit in screenplays. And in 2007. I don't have a script for this. This is just kind of off the cuff. In 2007, I started working in video games. Around 2010, I was hired to work on a game called Prototype 2. I did the job. I was a contractor. I was a freelancer. The job ended. I have since, that was 15 years ago, I have written a boatload of other stuff since then. Well, fast forward to last November of 2024. I got contacted by a guy on Facebook. I'm not going to give you the name that he used on Facebook because I am not sure about the legal implications of a bunch of this stuff. This guy contacted me and he had a whole bunch of questions about Prototype 2. So we had a long Facebook chat about it, and I answered his questions. I thought some of them were kind of nutty, but I told him what I thought. And that's an important thing here. This is just my opinion, what I was giving this guy. I don't own the property. I never owned the property. I'm a freelancer. I was like a hired gun working on Prototype 2. Activision owned the property. Activision is the ones who make the decisions. So we finished chatting and I didn't think anything else about it. Until a few months after that, I started getting contacted again by more people who weren't big fans of Prototype 2.
Okay.
Prototype, the first game and the second.
So, pause. So from the moment that he has mentioned that he is a contractor, so generally speaking, when it comes to sources of information, they are validated by the credibility in which they are presented. When it comes to authors and writers, generally they have a right to talk about the work that they work on. Even if they are contractors, they have a right to give that information because they did the labor, they get to talk about it. But as he puts it, they also have a right to not talk about it or to remove their own position. That is their right because they are in that position. And what he directly tells us, that he was a contractor, worked at Activision, but he doesn't own the property. Just his opinion, Activision would be the one that he would default to. And he does say that later as well. So if that is the case, I would only concern myself, if I were this guy, the Dante Power Scaling, or any person watching this video, the only thing that is relevant to learn here is just that parts of his conversation were fabricated. Nothing else of value exists. Meaning, if he talks about how any of the things of the Blacklight work, by his own word, they would just be his opinion. That cannot be used as supporting evidence for or against any particular piece of information in regards to Prototype. That's just his opinion, as he says. So, I just want to point that out before we continue further.
Game. And a lot of them were asking me the same kinds of questions that the first guy did. Now, I'm going to refer to the first guy as Tacky Jack. I don't have a real good reason for that. Tacky Jack's is the name of a restaurant chain.
I'll put a face in the name. The person who contacted Dan, I knew him as William D. Weber. You won't be able to find him on Discord anymore. He deleted his Discord after I found out that this was fake. And I basically gave him an ass blasting from hell. Because he's aware about the situation that we had a couple of years ago with God of War.
Yes. So that's William D. Weber. name of the guy that well, we don't know if that's his actual name, but his Discord name.
Mangler,
Secondly,
you're starting to cut out.
oh, wait, hang on. Let me rejoin. I'll grab it. Wait, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So I was gonna say his name, the guy that contacted the Sprite, Dan Joby, his name, the Discord name that he had was William J. Weaver. That was his name. He would be most likely either the one who doctored this conversation or had someone else doctor it.
How come you keep...
In the like probably did.
Hold on.
Like we don't know for a fact if even that guy did it or had the software to do it, because it's entirely possible it could be a group of people or something. We just don't have enough information. That's the problem with having people on the internet. You can't really unless you know their real name, unless you know who they are, you can't really extract information from them about the things that they do. But he would be like the prime suspect in this case, if you will.
Yeah, just to elaborate on the God of War point, the reason why that's important, why I brought that up, is because a couple of years ago we had this whole war with God of War, and we found out that they were using fake scans and everything that was unverifiable. So we strive to be as accurate as humanly possible. So when I saw this and I screen recorded it from the person on Discord, I had no way of knowing that these were fake. Because he went from Discord to Facebook to his messenger. I don't know how he did it, but he did. He changed it.
I've seen the video that he's referring to, and in the video it is literally a phone mobile picture of a screen recorder. I actually have something similar that I use when I go to screen record certain things for games, when I sometimes need to get footage, because I'm not able to record it for my laptop because I just don't have camera footage that I can use so I can show people some of the stuff I'm doing when I play in game. I can't do that. So what I have to do is that I have to tap on a screen footage option on my basically my phone desktop, tap it, record it, and then go into the phone. This guy was doing all of those things, and it was a seamless transition between all of the apps on his phone. So from his perspective, there was literally no way to tell that anything had been altered. There wasn't even any sort of delays in the projection of the video. Now, generally, we're still skeptical when it comes to any sources provided from anyone. That's kind of the reason why Balrog had asked him to provide video footage and screen footage of his whole thing while he was doing it. That's the entire reason he even had that video, was because he wanted to validate it in any stretch of the imagination. So you can't, I don't think you can arguably make the claim that Balrog is lying about this when he's going out of his way to provide as much information as he possibly can for a source, and then when he finds out that source is not valid, he's trying to ream the person who fabricated it and address the situation truthfully. I just think that's a bit dishonest. My perspective. But maybe I'm biased.
And if you're still here, at the start of the video, you were doing something very disingenuous, which was you claimed that I contacted Dan, when Dan even says he doesn't even know if I contacted him, which I didn't. That's not my Facebook. And I also don't have a fucking Android.
and Tacky Jack very, very vaguely resembles the name that he was using on Facebook, which he has since changed.
I might wait until we're about halfway through the video to answer the chats, because we're getting a lot of messages, and these might back up a little bit. So,
Do you want to answer some of them now?
No. We'll just wait a little bit, because so after a certain point, the pace of Dan Jovi's video kind of goes like this. Like, he just points to the DM, addresses it, and it's like, well, this is what I wrote. Okay, here's a fabrication. Here's what I didn't write. And it's the same thing over and over again for like 25 minutes. Meaning, after a certain point, it's the same set of claims. We won't have to respond to those, because the whole video is just him addressing what was not in the conversation, which is something you were going to do already.
Yes.
I know that's why you said you didn't want to go back to the video again, but like, there will be points where you will have to respond, probably. Maybe.
Well, I'll also say this. I'll also be doing something that you and Dan should have done, which is not just point out what parts of the conversation were fake, but you should also have pointed out what parts of the conversation were truthful, which is 60% of it.
Oh yeah, I think you mentioned to me that over half of that conversation was actually there, but
yeah, it was there. It was just anything doing with power scaling.
That would only really matter if, from this person's perspective, if he specifically didn't want that information to be used. But if that were true, then like pretty much nothing that Dan Jovi says, other than the authenticity of the conversation itself, nothing else is of value, like I said before. As he says, it's just his opinion. He was a contractor hired by Activision. Well, let's continue.
Jack is. But over the course of finding out about, or over the course of being contacted by these other guys who had more questions, I found out that there is a YouTuber who goes by the name of Balrog Blaze, and I was told that Balrog Blaze had made a video claiming that he had talked to me.
Now I'm assuming he has that assumption because you fucking people said that I talked to him. I make it clear in the James video and in the Alex vs. Cole video, I didn't contact him. This is not my video. So you disingenuously poisoned my name to Dan.
Yeah, that's not what happened. He did not contact him. That was the person that we have alleged as William J. Weber. Or at least that was what his Discord name
William D.
is.
Weber.
I don't know what his Facebook name.
And you can fucking you can fucking tell this because look at this screenshot. You have my profile in a call, and you have the other person who I got it from. If it was fucking me, why would I be in a call with another person?
Can we continue?
Yeah, I just didn't
that's all we really need to do.
I didn't know if you wanted to add anything else to that.
Nah, that's...
And in this video, he had put up the chat log that was supposed to prove that I agreed with him and that validated all of these opinions and questions and whatnot that he had about the prototype franchise. The weird thing was that these new guys, I'll call one of them Gabriel and I'll call one of them ZBrush. Again, nicknames, not any really good reason for this, except in my own head. Gabriel and ZBrush both started telling me about how Balrog had talked to me.
Yeah, so he openly admits, you people fucking lied to him that I contacted him. Now, he doesn't say that you lied to him, but I can give you the context that you lied to him and told him that I'm the one who contacted him, and he thinks that I'm fucking nuts for asking these questions. I wouldn't even ask half these questions. I'd be digging for lore. I'd be more interested in trying to find out the origins of Blacklight and how shit works in the verse. If I ask a director or an author anything, it will have nothing to do with power scaling, trust me. If you want an example of that, you can go to Twitter, where I asked Bruno Valquez about how big God of War's planet is.
Yeah. I mean, that's just one example we have. We don't typically ask Actually, I think that's the only time you've directly requested Word of God was specifically during the God of War projects, where we were actually. This is something that Dan Jovi probably doesn't know, but definitely not the YouTube channel that is responding to this. Dante Power Skiller, if you're still listening there, you do understand that the group of people that you're talking to are directly the people that go and gather as much material and information on a series as possible. Our responsibility is to source information for educational purposes. That's what we do these videos for. We go and buy up the official media with our money and our cash. We directly buy it, we support the official release, and then we go and find out what information is directly approved and officially allowed by the company. And then we report on it. So it's like we've done this before when it comes to God of War. The only time he directly talked to an author, I believe, was just Bruno, right? And that was just a tweet, if I'm not mistaken.
That's the only question that I've ever asked.
But to be fair, Bruno's a more active author than them, because authors all have their own lives. Some of them don't really want to have like an online presence. Bruno had like a huge Twitter, and he spent a lot of time on Twitter. So that's why he had so many answers that we catalog. But really, that was just us like pointing out like these are the things that people have asked him, and we just pointed out what they were saying while he was still working on the project in question. So what's this about? Some good youth drama? This is about us. Reggie, I'm only answering your question specifically because you jumped in the middle of it. You have no idea what's going on. We're going over some video from a guy named Dante Powerscaling, is his name. And he just made a video like a week ago, or yeah, about a week ago, a day after his channel went up, of how Balrog is a liar and how he fabricated an entire conversation. We've spent the last hour basically explaining that that wasn't the case. Fun stuff. No, the usual example of people slandering us.
That I validated everything that he had to say. And then one of them sent me a video, I guess the video that Balrog had posted, that had all of my responses. I started looking at that video pretty closely, and it didn't take very long at all for me to realize that the answers that I gave, a lot of the answers that I gave, had been changed. Now, ZBrush went on to tell me that he had talked to Balrog Blaze.
Yes, and that is true. And as I said, as you can see, because he goes off the Facebook app, how was I supposed to know that things were changed on there? I am many things, but I am not an intentional liar. Can I be a sucker? Absolutely. Can I be naive? Absolutely. But a blatant liar? That's not me, son. I've always strived to be as truthful as humanly possible. And if I get stuff wrong, I will admit when I get it wrong.
Let's continue.
And that Balrog claimed to be surprised that the responses from me in that video had been changed, had been altered. ZBrush told me that Balrog was very unhappy about having been made out to be a liar. I've never spoken to Balrog unless he was Tacky Jack. I don't know. But there's two things here. There's the difference between my opinion and the actual canon. I don't control the actual canon. I didn't create the property. I wrote the main story for Prototype 2. I contributed in many ways to the characters, the way a freelance writer does. But my word is not law as far as what the canon is. However,
so he openly,
yeah, and
he openly says that he doesn't even know that he talked to me, which he didn't, besides from when I went on with my personal account, and I asked him in an email if I could have the actual logs of their conversation. But the second thing I want to address, if this is meant to basically discredit certain positions I have on Prototype, he actively says there's a difference between his opinion and what's canon, so he's already invalidated using anything he says as evidence against Prototype.
So as I said at the beginning of the once we finished the video first time, any author, any writer, any person that works on a series has the right to talk about that series by virtue of their contract with the company and labor. I know people will say, well, I'm not a representative. Like, that doesn't matter. You're directly responsible for producing labor for that product. So you own some part of that product, regardless of whether you think you don't. You have some ability to make decisions or talk about it. But, and if not you, then like whom else? Secondly, if you also decide you don't want to make conversations about it or talk about it, you can do that as well. And that's not like, that is not a position that is also like unlimited in nature. A person, regardless of who they are, they could be the director or the writer for a main book series and be the only person that's worked about that, and they can make statements about their series that are objectively untrue 99.9% of the time. Being the owner of a property doesn't even necessarily validate your answers being automatically correct. What it just means is that you have the right to talk about it and for your positions to be considered as part of like the continuity. But that's all that means. But as he points it out, like he considers this to be his opinion, not part of the actual canon. All right, so then I can disregard anything he says in regards to like any information given, other than like the validity of this conversation and like what exists and whatnot. At least to the extent that he did, because as you've noticed, for people in the chat, this video that he made isn't really about discussing or even dissecting the differences between the conversation of what was like real and what was not, just correcting some parts of it and just giving a general response. But we can continue.
What I said in that chat is not being portrayed accurately in the video that Balrog put out there. And that's what I want to clear up in this video. So this is the video where I set the record straight about what I actually said to, I said these things to Tacky Jack, and then they showed up on Balrog's channel. I don't know if that means those two people are one and the same or not. But, so, I'm gonna put up screenshots of the chat that I...
This is not...
Yeah, he definitely got his information from just one source.
Oh, he's got it from two people, because there was another person I was talking to who thought that I DM'd Dan personally, and I basically provided the receipts to him that, like, no, I didn't, and he understands now. It's like, that sucks that I was lied to. This is not to Dante Pascaling, but more to Dan. What he should have done, and I've said this a million times in this video, you shouldn't have just pointed out what was fake, you should have also pointed out what was real. Because this is also unintentionally poisoning the well further, making it sound like everything in the video is fake.
I still have.
Yeah,
and
you should
also
probably at some point when you make that video, because you were already going to make a video talking about this anyway. You should probably gather up how much time. Just take like a screen cap of how long the video is in terms of screen length, and then just take a direct quota of how much time in that video is spent on the author DMs whenever they're referenced, and then just put that number in and be like, all right, this is the percentage of the video that relies on the author DMs, by the way.
Oh, for the Alex vs. Cole thing, I can tell you it's like 3 or 4 minutes, because it goes for the same length as the Eviscerator song that I use.
Yeah, but I doubt the entire length of that, even that 3 or 4 minutes, has those screenshots. There's probably gaps in between those even then.
Oh,
so
no,
it's probably less than like
there's a solid
1%.
minute. There's a solid minute and a half that shows this person going to Facebook, going to Dan's profile, then going to Messenger.
Sure. But I'm saying your entire video is 1 hour, 26 minutes, and something seconds long. 10% of that would only be like, that's like 90 minutes, like 9 minutes. This is like 1%, because it's like a tenth of your video. But Yeah, let's continue.
I don't know, maybe his next video he'll actually address some of the actual arguments in the Alex vs. Cole video, but
Uh, Reggie, when we get to the 15-minute mark, we will answer all of the questions in the chat. So like 6 more, well, not 6 more minutes. We're going at two times the speed. Let's continue.
Thoughts of the video that Balrog was putting out. And they're easy to distinguish because the shots that I got of Balrog's video are kind of blurry. You can still read everything, but I basically was making a copy of a copy. Starts out with him asking me about, can Alex regenerate from a single atom? And I'm putting this up to show that I said in the chat itself, I'm not the owner of the canon. I don't make the final decisions. And his second question is about some icons from the game, one of which showed, and they were for like special abilities, for special moves. These icons, and one of them showed James Heller splitting the moon in half. And he wanted to know if they were legit. And as you can see, no, I don't think that was legit. That was artistic license. Nothing in the story would indicate that James Heller or Alex Mercer, the protagonist from the first game, were in any way powerful enough to split the moon. And then he asked, would I consider the DLCs to be canon? And I said to him, to Tacky Jack, if Activision put them out, I'd consider them canon. Yeah. Well, I, at the time, did not know what the DLCs were about. I didn't know what was in them. So now that I have been told what the DLCs were about, they don't sound like canon to me.
it doesn't matter. Well, he's already disregarded himself as an actual source of information to be used. But when it comes to DLC, it doesn't matter if you like what's in a DLC. All DLCs and all powers that come from a DLC are canon, unless you're told that it's a non-canon DLC by the actual owners of the property.
I was just going to say that in general, he's already said that this is all of his opinion. And he even said that when he was working a prototype, he did not know what was in the DLC. So when he would have had the ability to talk about it more meaningfully, he didn't even know what they were. So I take that with the same grain of salt that I take most of his other answers. Like, again, for anyone watching this, the main thing that matters is what he's comparing between his direct portions of the conversation and what was fabricated. That is completely fair, and he has a right to talk about that. He also has a right to give his opinion on all these things. It's just his opinion on what he thinks is possible in the prototype world for the characters, by his own admission, is not valid. Not our words, his words.
Well, to put it simply, this would be the equivalent of being able to have an opinion on a dish, but you can't really talk about making the dish.
It's like you said, I want to talk about this, but I don't know anything about it. I don't think I would be a credible source. And then 5 minutes later, you're like, you know what? This dish is amazing. And then like getting on a broadcast like microphone and talking to the world about all the elements, the chemicals that went into this dish and the preparation. It's like, didn't you just say like 5 minutes ago that you weren't a credible source? That would just be a little bit silly.
But again, I don't control the franchise. I was a hired gun. Then he says, he asks me a question and says that if I agree with him on this, it will change the prototype franchise forever. And wants to know.
That's such a funny answer to make.
I think I said...
prototype franchise forever. Yeah, because we definitely needed that information.
Yeah, I think I said this when we first got to this part, but like, these questions are not just leading, they're also kind of disgusting. These are not the kind of questions you ask people if they give you the time to pick their brain about a franchise or a character.
Well,
if James Heller and Alex Mercer can alter their bodies on the atomic level. And I said, no, I don't think so. I think it's probably on the molecular level. And here's where it starts getting interesting. Because he went in and changed my answer. So since atoms make up molecules, the atoms get rearranged. They can deliberately decide whether they want to affect the atoms themselves or not. Yeah, I didn't say that. What I said was, when he asked, are they capable of affecting atoms too? I wouldn't think so, not directly. It's just molecules. So whenever Alex transforms, he causes weather to change. Now, apparently this is a big deal. Apparently, Balrog decided that because there was a special effect that when Alex Mercer uses certain powers, it got dark around him. And he tilted the camera up and saw that when that happened, the sun went scared across the sky. And this is the answer that he claims I gave. It's a thing that was intended to happen, so it's legit. Now, here's a couple of the responses that I actually gave him, and I don't think that there's any. I mean, of course they don't. Of course they don't move the sun. How is a virus that lets you rearrange your body's molecules help you make you able to move? It makes no sense.
So this is a feature that happens in Prototype 1, so he has no authority on this.
Yeah,
And
he's. We've already discussed that point, but I'm just gonna say he's just giving his personal opinion on it. So I'm more interested in this point at just like going through to see if he says anything that we actually have to address, because this isn't really the only thing that would matter at this point is if Dante Power Scaling released another video going over the stuff in your actual video, because again, that was what we were hoping for. And instead we got 20 minutes of listening to this guy who believes he's been wronged, which he has been. I'm not saying he hasn't been. Like, someone fabricated a conversation about him. That sucks. That person should definitely pay the penalty for it, but that wasn't Balrog who did that. And secondly, the person who gave you this information is a person who has malicious intent against Balrog.
well, I don't know if he had malicious intent, because I took him.
He definitely does.
I took him as a good source because
He lied about. No, not the writer, not the writer.
Not Dan. I'm talking about William, because I had no reason to doubt William because he gave me links to articles and interviews on YouTube that I didn't even know existed for Prototype.
I would say that guy has malicious intent, but it's a different type of malicious intent. Not towards you, just malicious intent because he's probably involved in the fabrication of this. I was referring specifically to the YouTube channel that produced this video, Dante Power Scaling.
Oh, okay.
This guy who claimed he's friends with Dan Jovi. Because he is being used as the single piece of information for this, but Dan Jovi is only being given information from that point of view. And that's kind of, well, I mean, that is the definition of one-sided.
Yeah, true. Oh, man, you're nicer to stream with than Zim, because at this point Zim would be like, I wish I could poke you with a fucking stick to get you to move faster.
Yeah, we can... I guess I can start answering questions now because we're basically there. Let's see. Dan saying the DLCs are not canon, the virus made in the lab by accident just sounds like a spit towards you. And then, Dan is exposing that Balrog is a liar. And it was this guy is. Dan's just featured in the video.
Well, Dan shows that he doesn't know anything about Prototype's lore because we know how. We don't know where the black light came from, but we do know that it was the first thing on the planet. It was the thing that started evolution.
Hang on, we'll get into that in a second. I just have to address this. But I was going to say, Dan in this analogy is like an innocent actor. He doesn't know the full context of what's going on, and he's only being told information from outside sources. And the source he's getting it from hates Balrog. So even if everything he said was true, it would have maliceful intent behind it that would probably murk some of the messaging. Let's be clear, that would be if everything he said was true. A lot of what he has said is false. He has openly claimed that Balrog was responsible for fabricating this. Balrog did not fabricate this information. That is not what happened. Then also a bunch of other stuff about the blacklight in general being a simple virus. Like, that's just not true. Not a simple virus at all. Apparently, Dante Power Scaling, when he was here, said, if he's still here, he said, I don't speak English, idiot. That's why I don't talk. I mean, if you don't speak English, you probably are going to have a very difficult time responding to Balrog's videos then. Just word of advice, you are fighting an uphill battle if you have to also battle the language barrier.
You're fighting not just an uphill battle because you're fighting somebody who's speaking English, you're fighting somebody who doesn't speak American English. He speaks British and Australian English, which means I'll also be saying words that you wouldn't even be able to replicate in a translator.
I find that funny because I don't think you've ever put British and Australian Australian English in the same language,
Well,
because the slang in both of those is widely different, is it not?
oh yeah, absolutely. Like when I talk on stream or on videos, I don't speak the way I would speak to friends here because you wouldn't understand anything I would say.
Well, you can also see this with a lot of translation software as well. Like DeepL Translator, for example, when you translate stuff from another language, you have the option to translate it into English parentheses American or English parentheses British, and it comes out completely differently. For like mostly Eastern languages, some Western languages, like a lot of European ones, are similar, but they still have different answers. Certain colloquial terms are different, and then slang does not get translated very effectively at all. Um, let's see. What else? Alex also has feats of strength, speed, strength, durability. Is also a very versatile character. What makes Alex dangerous isn't his pure power, though it's nice. It's specifically how his hacks and intelligence that makes him hard to fight. Yeah, this guy seems more interested. At least he claims he's going to debunk almost everything about this, and I don't know how much of that is entirely true, and what his entire positions are. But presumably he'll be making more videos, so the truth will come out eventually. We'll find out what he's all about. Because that's also the important thing to talk about. We don't have to talk about what Balrog believes, because what Balrog believes is openly in public on his channel, and has been on his channel for months for everyone to see. Everyone knows what his positions are, and you can communicate with him on a weekly basis if you want to find out what more about him. This guy popped up out of nowhere a week ago with a video in response to this. He's basically, for all intents and purposes, an enigma. This is also this is where there's an appeal to reality. Blacklight does not act in any way like other life forms on the Earth. This is correct. It has a lot of functions that are not normal, and like Balrog said, it's not native to the planet. It's stated in the guidebooks that Elizabeth Green has billions of years of evolution, and that the Blacklight is the basis of all life on the planet. And even if you didn't have those statements, why would you assume it's even a simple virus? Because it doesn't behave the way that a virus does.
It's a
It's not a
rapidly
normal one.
it's a rapidly evolving, hyper aggressive life form that can connect to everything that it's infected telepathically, can show images, and lets you basically there's no quick way to describe all the things the black light can do.
I mean, sure there is. Like, it has a telepathic hive mind. It can like hack and control like electronic equipment. It can control inanimate objects, which a virus by definition can't do. A virus is a biological, like usually a micronism that usually exists at the molecular level. It's not something that has genuine cellular tissue unless it's spread very, very significantly. And it certainly doesn't have a body that, according to, what is the name of the Blackwatch? According to Blackwatch, the actual sources of information in the world of Prototype, the people who've studied it for decades, they claim it is necrotic tissue. So they're walking around and being like, yeah, whoever is basically an evolved or has the black light is essentially a literal dead man walking. What kind of virus? I've never heard of a virus on planet Earth that has allowed you to animate a dead corpse and then reconfigure its entire molecular structure. That is not normal.
The best way and the easiest way I can explain Alex's powers, he's ultimate cars, but better in every way, shape, and form.
He's ultimate cars, but without all the weird JoJo stands and like unnecessary improvatic, like dramatic body posturing. But
No. If Prototype 3 comes out, he will be striking a Pillar Man pose.
bro, I don't want to hear that. Like, that would be so stupid. Just see Mercer, he's just like putting his hands up to his face.
Would you rather he do the?
He's an infamous fan.
Would you
Not
rather
surprised of
he
his
does the
claim.
Wamu stance then?
No, that would be cancer. He's an infamous fan. Not surprised of his claim. We don't know that he's an infamous fan. I think that's not a bad suggestion to make because almost every person who's responded to his video or tried to respond to Balrog's video has been an infamous fan. The video he specifically has a problem with is Alex versus Cole. No one ever has a problem with a James Heller video. No one has a problem with any of his streams or any of his conversations talking about Prototype. It's whenever Prototype in a conversation gets mentioned with the series Infamous that they have a problem. Meaning the issue has nothing to do with Mercer. Mercer is literally just an audience member, which is crazy considering he's like front and center.
Every time I've had somebody give me shit, it's always been an Infamous fan for either the Cole video or for the Alex vs. Cole video that I'm doing. Not doing, did. Those are the only times I've ever copped shit from people, and it's mostly due to the fact that they don't like where I put Cole. Which, again, I give an unbelievable amount of evidence on my part why I have Cole where I have him. But Dan talked about how the skybox changes and stuff like that. The reason why I'm fine with using stuff like this is because it's the same argument that Infamous fans use for Cole when he uses the Ionic Storm, which I'm fine with both of those feats. If you want to say that it's only clouds, whatever. Because again, people seem to forget, I'm not just banking on the star meta. That's an opinion. That's something that I threw as a highball, and I tell people, this is what you can get if you want to accept this. All of the things that I've said have always had the preference of if you want to accept this. Because I have that. I have the planet meta, which comes from an interview. I have the storm meta, which comes from just taking the storm clouds that Alex makes during his transformations, which, whether Infamous fans like it or not, would be the same type of argument they would use for Cole when he uses the Ionic Storm, like it or not. And the one that I usually use when I debate people is the bomb meta. Because the bomb meta is just the easiest to argue.
Let's see. Ragnar, yes, because as Kyle says, Alex Mercer is not a human with a symbiote powers. He's a living sentient virus that's trying to affect you. Bro, what is this slander? The worst said, I just mean like it's very incompetently put together slander. I was expecting like better slander. They're still coping about Cole almost dying to a car crash. It's fine. If we...
So, this is the problem that people need to understand about...
If we get a video from this guy, which I'm assuming...
So, this is the problem with... Because people are just like, oh, you take Cole as super low end because he nearly died to a car crash. It's like... Oh, I'm sorry, were you saying something?
Is literally, like, most of his channel is literally just going to be him responding.
Mainly, you keep coming in and out. While Mangler fixes that, this is the problem, right? The car crash matters because it shows Cole being heavily injured from this in a canon scene you can't wipe it away. And there is nothing in the series that Cole tanks that would get above that in terms of like durability. Everything he tanks would be around that same level of force. So you see a car crash, but if somebody says, but he's been chucked into a building, yeah, and if you were to calculate the force of being chucked into the building, it would probably equal the same amount of force he took being ran in a headlong collision with a truck.
I see why the lead writer of Prototype 1 didn't like Alex in Prototype 2. I mean, maybe. I don't know what the whole situation was with the writers for the first game. So what's it about? Oh yeah, I answered that. This is some good YouTube trauma, indeed. I just woke up, by the way. Jeremy, weren't you on break? Oh wait, no, that was triple. My bad. So is this guy just a dude who disagrees with Balrog, or is he anyone important?
No,
This
he's
is the
trying to
person who
poison.
disagrees with Balrog.
This video is just basically a giant poison fruit that's meant to discredit an entire hour and a half long video that I don't even use
Yeah, he's
the DM
trying
for that
he's
much.
trying to poison the well by saying that because this piece of information is not valid, all of it isn't valid. The problem I have here is that, like, which I'm gonna make a prediction right now. It's already here. If this guy makes a response video, not to this one, but specifically to the rest of the other videos, on your channel, specifically the Alex versus Cole, it's going to be most of the same arguments that we've all heard about Prototype and Infamous at this point, but it is literally just going to be arguments about what is considered acceptable or not acceptable from the author's statements, and arguing that he's a liar so he can't be treated or trusted. And he'll just argue a poison well situation. Or he'll just argue that in conjunction with the same arguments that have been refuted a million times. Which I don't think he understands this correctly, but my guy, even if you argued that Balrog was a poisoned well, even if I accepted that premise, not true, even if I accepted that premise, what's stopping another person from making the same arguments without the author camps? Not that Prototype scalers were using them to begin with. They were going through the game and the guidebooks and just reading what they say, because when you read a series, you pay attention to what information you are told to do, unless you are illiterate. That is how we are taught to read things in school.
I'm going to point this out now, and I'll expand upon this when I actually do the video. The DMs don't matter. I can take the DMs out of my Alex versus Cole video, and guess what? The result doesn't change. Because all my arguments were made prior to the DMs. The DMs were only there for supportive evidence, not direct evidence.
I would actually take it a step further. The DMs don't matter for any of your core claims, or even most of your side claims. They don't even matter. They don't matter at all. Because there's nothing there that is needed that you can't get from the guidebooks of the games.
And this is the problem too, is that, like, when Dan says in this, he doesn't think that they can survive a nuke. Okay, cool, that's his opinion, but the Supreme Hunter disagrees with you, and so would the scaling of the Goliaths from the 2's guidebook.
So basically, he's Ian Flynn from Sonic. He writes for Sonic sometimes, and has some authority. He's on the lore team, but he doesn't know anything about the scaling of the reverse. I mean, a lot of writers don't. But they're still allowed to have their opinion, because, again, they write about it. But as soon as they point out that they're not just, like, not speaking on it, or that they don't have the capacity to talk about it, then we have to disregard them by their own words. Most of them would say that it's always their opinion anyway, but the problem that I don't think they understand is that if you're writing for a series, you have an intimate level of knowledge most fans will never reach in their life. Because you had to create the material for the series, you had to concoct it, and you had to explain it effectively. You probably, depending on the series, might have even had to know a little bit of the science behind it. That is infinitely more than the average person that reads. Especially with education being what it is nowadays. Did Dante Power Scaling just recently make his channel just for this? Yes, he literally made it on the 17th. It is the 25th. It is currently Friday the 25th. He made it on last Thursday, the 17th. He made it just for this. And then he made that video about 6 days before. So he uploaded it by Saturday. This person sounds like 16. Maybe in terms of his language. But can Alex beat novel cars? I don't fucking think so. Depends. Would they care if it was
Novel
Nelson
cars
Rowe?
just
No.
Novel Cars just convinces
They wouldn't
Mangler. Novel Cars just convinces the Blacklight to come with him.
They would just assimilate together. They would not care. That's the thing. Infamous fans do not care at all about Delson. I mean, some of them do, but
Well, no, they care nowadays.
If it was about Delson, if he made a video about Delson, they would not give a fuck. about Delson. They do not care about him. It is only because it is Cole McGrath.
Well, they care nowadays because without any evidence to backscale to Cole, they try and claim, because Eugene can make a virtual reality that it puts in.
No, I mean in the general sense of it, that like all the material that they would primarily be using would be from like the guides and the games for like Infamous 1 and 2.
No,
They wouldn't
I
really need
understand that.
anything
I just
from
find it.
Second Son.
I understand. It's just that nowadays, Infamous fans, Spite, are trying to use Second Son to buff the scaling for Cole, even though there's no link between the two games that you can make that comparison. It's like they say, oh, but Cole's stated to be one of the strongest conduits. It's like, okay, even if that's true by Second Son, cool. Why would that put him above the Second Son cast? Because again, let's say you have,
Hello, Elon Martin.
let's say you have the three strongest people in the world. There can be massive gaps between where 3, 2, and 1 sit, and the statement can still be true that these are the strongest people in the world.
Delson, my love, the better told. I never got the chance to play Infamous Second Son, but I always found Delson to be more interesting from what I've seen of the story and watched the cutscenes. I always liked this character a little more.
Delson's
but I never got to own the game.
Delson's awesome, especially his story arc with his brother Reggie and how Reggie comes to accept him and his friends. The only thing that's criminal about Second Son is that it's too short.
So what's the conclusion? We're just going through. Currently, the conclusion is that this guy, not the person that's visually presented, not the power scaling, made the video, has made a lot of things factually incorrect. The only things he's made that are true are specifically that the conversation in question was fabricated by someone, but not by Balrog. And that's something Balrog was already going to address in a video, which he claimed was not true. That Balrog was not going to do that. It's also something that's false. Balrog already has the video in the works. So that's not really like a good argument, or even an accurate position. And this guy that we're listening to is writer Dan Joey, who was responsible for producing our conversation. And he is simply reacting to the information in public from this guy's YouTube channel.
Mainly, you're becoming a speak and spell again.
Source of information. And he doesn't know full context. He's just reacting to information as it is portrayed.
You're becoming a speak and spell again.
Oh my. Okay, I'm back. So I was saying that Dan Jovi, the guy that's here, is just reacting to the information that he was given by the person who made the video, Dante Power Scaling, his friend. He's just reacting to this information with that guy as his only source of information. He does not know the full context of what's going on, and he's under the impression, at least to some extent, that Balrog is involved in the fabrication of the scans. So he's just a guy that was asked for his opinion and got pushed into this whole mess, and he doesn't know what's going on. So it's understandable that he's upset, but Balrog's not the person that you need to be venting that anger at. You should be venting it at the person that fabricated the scans. And probably the friend that has been lying about certain information. While Infamous fans be disrespecting Delson, I'd argue Delson is stronger as he got hundreds of powers by the end. Not gonna lie, I always like Delson more than Cole. But I find him more interesting, has more powers. Oh, I thought this guy was that guy. No. The guy that's on this video right here that we see, the dude with the beard, he is not the person that owns the YouTube channel.
No, that's
He's
Dan.
the writer in the DMs.
He is the unintentional victim of this whole thing.
Yes.
Do we have any more comments
So
to
I
go
finished
through?
Westlands, and my god, Lucy punching Halsey was so fucking satisfying. It was really satisfying. Halsey deserved that punch. Anyway, continue, Balrog.
Do we have any more comments to go through, or do you still want to go through more of the video?
No, we finished them. That was the greatest punch ever. One might say it was a peak punch. Oh, we can continue.
And my speculation was that somebody decided that they wanted things to get dark around the character when they used their power. And the easiest and fastest way to do that was to speed up the skybox. Now, I don't know for sure that that's what happened, because that's on the art side. I was not on the art side, I was on the narrative side. But just the idea that James Heller or Alex Mercer could affect the sun makes no sense whatsoever. And he mentioned Elizabeth Green, and Elizabeth Green only showed up in Prototype 1. I didn't work on Prototype 1. I don't have that much to say about Prototype 1, stuff that happened only in that game. Here's where he changed one of my answers. It's definitely a thing that happened. And I'm not about to argue with the lead developer, especially on a game I didn't work on, and he wants to know if it's canon. And, that's not really up to me to decide, because I don't know canon, as I've repeatedly said. But no, I don't think there's any way anyone in the franchise affected the path of the sun.
He actively goes on to basically say that anything in Infamous 1, he wouldn't be able to make any kind of claim on, even if it's his opinion. Anything you want to add to that, or just continue?
No, there's just nothing really. I mean, if you want me to give my thoughts on the subject, I can, but like,
I mean,
what were you gonna say?
I mean, because again, we are two different people with two different mindsets. We do not hold the same opinion when it comes to feats like that. So I'm more easy to convince with stuff like that. You need more evidence than I do, just so people understand that we're not this like hive mind of people.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, like, his opinion of what the black light can or cannot do is irrelevant to what it can be, what it is capable of in the world of Prototype. But as he said, it's his opinion. So, and he's allowed to have it. Everyone's allowed to have their own opinion. It's completely fine.
So, is there an explanation as to how Alex's powers somehow able to move the sun? And he said, according to him, he said, no, I don't know exactly how it happened, I forgot. No, I never said that. So, then we get into this thing about the ability muscle mass. Okay, also had a question about the muscle mass ability. We know it increases Alex's strength by 6 times factor. And this response that he has down from me, honestly, while muscle mass primarily focuses on increasing Alex's strength, I didn't say any of that. That entire response from me right there is made up out of whole cloth. It's an invention.
So I don't understand why William asked that question to begin with, because the answer is just in one's guidebook.
Yeah, I was gonna say that they tell you in the game and in the guidebook that muscle mass just increases the strength you have based on like what you're absorbing. It should be very clear that that's what it's doing.
Yeah,
because he only produces the abilities once he starts absorbing more hunters. You don't need more information to tell you what it is. You just simply want it.
Yeah, like essentially the guidebook in the game to basically say that it increases his strength by a factor of 2, and you can upgrade it 3 times. So it sits anywhere between like a 4 times to an 8 times multiplier, depending on if you think it goes 2, 4, 8, or if you think it goes 2, 4, 6. So.
What's Glassland? Planet's Glass by the Covenant. Well, Glassland is it's the first novel of the Kilo 5 trilogy in Halo books. One of the greatest novels ever written in Halo. Crazy. Oh, hello, Wonton. How you doing? Let's continue.
Okay, so what do you think about consumption as an
minutes.
exponential increase, like growing 2 times stronger? And no, I don't think that's an accurate thing. I don't think it's a practical thing. They'll get out of hand really fast. I always thought that when Mercer or Heller consumed someone, it added a little bit. It was like refilling a fuel tank. And he keeps at it. Do prototypes and evolve, get 2 times stronger every day. And I said, I don't think any of them get twice as strong every day. It was a slow, gradual process. And if you got twice as
They don't get stronger. They don't get 2 times stronger, but they do get stronger. We just don't know by how much. Um, my thought on the consumption is there is no reason why, if he's able to match people who can fight on his level and he consumes them, there's no reason to believe he wouldn't be getting their strength on top of what he already has. Because the game makes it clear
What
that
else does he say?
the more you consume, the stronger you get.
What else does he say? Here's in the middle of a sentence.
Strong
You
every
get
day.
twice as
That
strong
would
every
be
day.
like an exponential thing. You would get godlike, like immediately. It makes no sense.
Not okay. So, not really, technically. Because like most of the, I think even by the events of the end of Prototype 1, what's his face? Cross. I believe his name is Robert Cross, or I'm mistaking that. No?
Um, yeah, you're correct, but you're talking about the Supreme Hunter, yeah.
Yes, I'm talking about the Supreme Hunter. So Cross basically says that when he absorbs Alex, he will be able to withstand even this, referring to the atomic bomb that is that is basically going to reduce the entire city of Manhattan to glass. If you told me that absorbing that person wouldn't be an exponential increase if I couldn't do that already, that would be the lie. Because by Cross's own logic, he's convinced he could survive that. And Alex doesn't, after he beats Cross, he does not absorb Cross. He doesn't absorb Cross in his material. And Cross is claiming that absorbing Alex would allow him to survive that. So I don't really think like a 2 times increase would be that impressive, especially when we're talking about things on the level of a nuclear bomb. Like a nuclear bomb produces a payload of energy that's in like the megatons to gigatons.
Oh.
Well, kilotons to megatons, depending on the tactical nuke, if it's affecting a town or a city. That is in like the millions to billions of tons of energy. That is so much energy that a 2 times increase is nothing. Even an atomic bomb that could blow up a city would have to literally get thousands of times stronger to affect a mountain or an island to reach the gigaton range. Even that bomb would have to get amazingly more power.
I also,
So
I
that's
also
not
want,
really that crazy.
I also want to explain to people that like, when I say that the Supreme Hunter and Alex are like half the power of the bomb, that's me being like conservative because I can't put an actual number to it because they could be way closer or they could be way further and consumption just gives them a massive boost. But I think what a lot of people seem to forget is that the bomb was not supposed to go off on the Reagan. It was supposed to be dropped in the heart of Manhattan and glass the entire city. Like it was supposed to reduce the island to a smoldering ruin.
Yeah, which blowing up, to be clear, if you dropped a nuke in the middle of Manhattan and it affected Manhattan Island, just the main Manhattan Island. So to be clear, like New York isn't just Manhattan. You've also got like Brooklyn over there. You have, you don't just have parts of like Midtown, so you've also got a little bit of New Jersey. You have other areas outside the main Manhattan area because you also have tunnels that lead off the Manhattan Island. Even if the bomb just destroyed most of the buildings, blew most of the windows out, destroyed things at the epicenter, but then like mostly reduced a lot of the structure on the edge to rubble, that would still be a city level bomb. What he says is that it's going to reduce all of that to like ash or glass. That's much more powerful than a city level nuke. That would mean that the bomb, by the time its explosive radius hit the edge of Manhattan, still had enough energy to vaporize every single structure. That would be like the most powerful nuclear bomb that has ever been produced in the history of mankind. That would make the one that at Hiroshima look like a water gun, like a squirt gun in someone's hands, by comparison. That's a very powerful nuclear weapon. My brain here with the AI voice, don't worry, it wasn't there for that long. Yeah, Blackwatch knows how Alex works. They know that they have to wipe out all the life on the island down to the bedrock to make sure he couldn't hide. That was literally why they used the nuke. Because they're convinced if nothing else works, they can't kill him. That's how much of a threat he was. Yeah, the Blackwatch just randomly decided, listen, we're just gonna drop the most powerful nuclear weapon known to mankind for no discernible reason. Also, conveniently, the greatest threat to mankind also happens to be on that island.
Uh,
Must be a coincidence.
I bring this up in the Alex video, but a funny thing about when you fail to beat the Supreme Hunter and you get the bad ending, it's the only time in the game where it doesn't say Alex died, it just says Alex failed. So take that as you will as well.
That's vaporizing everything. That's more powerful than an H-bomb. It makes an H-bomb look like a little baby. But let's continue.
Also, was the increase
was ridiculous.
like stagnant after the final upgrade, or is there no limit to how much his powers can increase? In this response right here, no, the increase isn't stagnant after the final upgrade. Theoretically, if Alex were to continue evolving, there'd be no inherent limit to how much his powers can increase. I didn't say any of that. That's another one that's just completely invented. I don't know. I mean, that's not based on a response of mine. That is not a response of mine in any way. Never said it. And and this is going to be important. Where he says, "Were you the lead in the project?" I was the writer. I was the writer that they hired. I was not the lead developer. So then he has this long question here about the evolved and prototypes and getting stronger over time, kind of covering ground that we've already covered. Since they can affect other infected bodies, mentions Dr. Gutierrez, and then another example where this is attributed to me. Yes, they get stronger on the fly and their body constantly adapts every second. Nope, never said that. Never said any of that. That's just someone making stuff up. Who? I don't know. I mean, I assume it was Tech Jack. This is what I actually had to say. I don't know that they get stronger over time so much as they just get better. And then, do they evolve to have potential for growth like the prototypes? Can an evolve become a prototype? Once again, I'd say yes. I think Mercer was the absolute peak until he created someone even stronger in color. Those two are the most powerful and will probably stay that way unless something else.
That's a dumb question because the evolved are prototypes.
Their name kind of makes that self-indicative. They're called the Evolved.
Like, just so people understand this.
I really wonder like what the person asking this, what like William was, like what's going through his incredibly stupid noggin.
I have no idea, because like
basic evolution requires you to get stronger. If you don't evolve, you die. That's how evolution works. If you can't evolve, you fucking die. It's called a failure to thrive.
Yeah, and this is what people need to understand as well. Like, Alex and James are also evolved. That's just what their species is called. The evolved. It's like going up to Magneto and being like, wow. Fucking, I don't even know why I'm using this. I don't even read comics. You know, going up to the X-Men and being like, wow, I'm mutants like you.
Nukes do not propagate through the ground as well. This nuke is supposed to glass the New York underground, which has quite a few nuclear bunkers, which Blackwatch had to make to sure their bomb destroys. Oh yeah, I forgot about the underground. I was just talking about the entire surface because technically, due to how most physics work and most fields of knowledge regarding explosive thermonuclear yield, if you were to produce a nuclear bomb in an area, at the epicenter of the blast would be the strongest amount of energy. By the time it's finished expanding, the explosion would be much weaker than it was at the epicenter because it would have released most of its energy unless we had reason to believe the bomb was designed in a very different way than a normal nuclear weapon and it was capable of expanding. You would assume it would have released most of its energy. So if it's released most of its energy and it's still glassing all of New York, or at least all of Manhattan, and like the islands around it, then yeah, that's a very powerful bomb. It's much more powerful than a hydrogen weapon.
What I actually said was, I think Mercer was the absolute peak until he accidentally created someone even stronger in Heller. Those two are the most powerful and will probably stay that way.
Yeah, that I believe Two's guidebook says something around those lines too.
Let's get in.
His question: can the prototypes and evolved's abilities grow endlessly? Like in Prototype 1, they can change their body on the cellular level, according to the artist, and guides on the molecular level. In Prototype 2, they say they can change it again on the molecular level. And this response attributed to me. Yeah, as I've stated, I think it's a molecular level to atomic level ability. They don't have any limit, and any of their abilities could grow endlessly. Nope, never said that. What I actually said, as demonstrated right here, I'm sure there's some sort of upper limit to the ability that hasn't been reached yet. Next question. If Prototype 3 were to happen, would it still follow James or a different protagonist? And if a different one, would they met James eventually? And this is my favorite one out of this whole bit. That would be up to Activision. I was also the former president. The company's name was Radical. Radical with a C, not Ray.
Now, I'll say this right now. I made the same mistake calling him the boss of the company in my video. That was my fuck up. I should have googled that. That was completely on me.
Didn't Heller absorb multiple evolves at the end of 2? Yeah, but he also just absorbs evolves throughout the entire game.
He absorbs evolved. He absorbs
like
brawl. He absorbs black-light creatures that also have the same capabilities of getting as strong as he does. Because, again, according to like the hunter's profile, the reason why the hunters can continuously keep up with Alex during 1 is because they consume each other and get stronger.
Yeah, so the hunters, the Goliaths he's produced, and most of the creatures he's produced in Prototype 2 would be way stronger than the ones that were made from 1, because they've also evolved at this point. I mean, Alex just has way more biomass than he did before. At the beginning of the game, Alex was just a dude infected with the Blacklight, or at least he was the composite for the Blacklight. By the end of the game, he's absorbed like hundreds, if not thousands, of hunters. He's absorbed Elizabeth Green, who has basically most of the biological information of the planet, and is the main source of producing the hunters. And then he's also regenerated from the nuclear bomb. Not to mention all the other absorptions and biomass that he ate between that point. So when he, by the time he's already started creating his evolves in 2, he's absorbed so much biomass compared to the beginning of the first game. He has way more stuff at his disposal than Elizabeth Green ever did. His hunters and his evolve would be way stronger. That's just the natural process of evolution. That's not even a position you'd be talking about with regard to the guide. That is basic scientific understanding of like nature.
I'm also
to believe otherwise would go against what we know about science.
I'm also going to give you a scaling chain that I know Prototype fans are not going to like, which is, by all rights and according to what is said about the Goliaths in 2, you can make the assumption that the Goliaths are stronger than the Supreme Hunter.
I mean, that's not really that crazy. So most...
Well, no, because there are Prototype fans who still wonder if James... At what part of the game could James fight the Supreme Hunter? And the answer to that is the first Goliath fight.
Well, technically, I would take the position that once he's turned into an evolve, he could probably consume the Supreme Hunter. I know James Heller is not technically a normal person, because Prototype 2 does make it a point that him and his entire bloodline is not normal, because Mercer is targeting his daughter specifically to be the queen of his evolve, because he wants to create an alpha for the species so that he can revolutionize the way mankind exists on the planet, because that is his goal. So if you believe that, you would have to believe there's something in their genetics that is unique. But either way, if you know anything about evolution, you should be more than willing to accept that the Goliath would be stronger than anything from the first game. It wouldn't make sense for him to be any weaker than the Supreme Hunter. Pretty sure Mercer himself hinted that New York City would be destroyed when he spoke to Randall. Mercer said, "I won't let you erase New York City like you erased Hope," or something like that. Yeah, he does say something to that effect. I'm also pretty certain Mercer allowed himself to be killed and will return in B3. At least that's the rumor. I mean, if Prototype 3 happens, we'll see.
We'll see if Prototype 3 happens, but 2's guidebook makes it very apparent that James won because he just out-muscled Alex. Which...
He was
I wish the game wouldn't make it feel like he threw the fight, but, you know, It's what the guidebook says.
To be fair, even if he didn't throw the fight, I don't think Mercer would necessarily have a problem with being consumed, because Mercer, by his own logic, or at least the Blacklight, because Mercer himself is actually dead, the Blacklight would still be fine with being consumed into another source of Blacklight, because one, it's itself. Two, you're all evolving towards a greater organism. So it doesn't matter whether Mercer threw the fight or not. He would ultimately accept that he's getting absorbed, because that's just nature. That's just survival of the fittest. But continue on.
Deal. I was also the former president of Radical Entertainment. If it were up to me, the protagonist would probably be how his daughter is an adult. Now, this is what I actually said. I was never the head of Radical. Why would I am a writer. That is, professionally, that is all I have ever been. That is all I have ever wanted to be. That is what I intend to be until I die. I have never been a studio head. The closest I've gotten to a position of leadership is I've been lead writer in a few projects. Head of Radical? I mean, can't you just Google Radical Entertainment in 2010 and find out who it was? I think it was Ken Rossman. Why?
As I said, that's my bad. I should have googled
There was
that.
an interview where Prototype 1 and 2 was intended to have multiplayer, this is not an enormous difference.
Skill
But
issue.
just, I'd say yes, that would be up to the gameplay designers. Is what he says I said. What I actually said was, that would be up to the gameplay designers. Why make that change? Why change something that is so close to the actual...
I too am baffled, because there are multiple times like this where it's like, you're changing one or two words, or you're changing shit that doesn't even need to be changed.
It's baffling.
The machinations of this man's mind are an enigma to us. But then again, he deleted his Discord when he was confronted about it. So it doesn't seem like he wanted to talk in earnest about the subject.
A long string of questions, just one after the other. I didn't have the chance to respond because he sent them all at once. This is just all, it's a whole huge column of questions in one huge stack. So I split them up, and I'm going to show you what they were, and then my responses to them. So working radios and phones, Prototype 3 would happen, and if I had the opportunity, I would make it about James Heller's daughter, Amaya, who coincidentally was named after a friend of my niece's. What does Dana do? I would say Dana sticks around and helps James raise his daughter. If a Prototype would obey Blackwatch, would they allow them to fight with them? I don't know. It would depend on the story, I guess. These are all legitimate answers. Legitimate questions, legitimate answers. Blacklight has been stated and shown multiple times in the games to evolve on the fly. Increases strength, Supreme Hunter fights, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know. I know the answer to that. I don't know, maybe. Now, here's where things start to diverge from the truth again. At what point during Prototype 1 did the Supreme Hunter consume Robert Cross, and did Cross put up a fight, or was he easily dispatched? And Tacky Jack says that I forgot, but I said he put up a good fight. What I actually said was, that was in Prototype 1, so I don't have details. Do you think that the Supreme Hunter's statement regarding the nuke being able to vaporize...
I don't know why he's asking somebody who worked on 2 and made it apparent earlier in the text conversation that he only has information on 2 about questions from 1.
This person who asked him the question seemed to be a moron, so I'm not particularly interested in what their sense of mind. But he's talking about the nuke thing.
That happened was a fluke, with his statement of being able to withstand the bomb once he has consumed allies. And he says that I said, no, he has no reason to lie. Whereas what I actually said was, as I have told you before, I don't think any of them could survive a nuke. And that's like direct hit with a nuke, ground zero with a nuke. I think that would do it. How did the Blacklight come to be? Was it from space, or was it something natural that formed on the planet? And according to him, I said, I don't remember. What I actually said was, I think scientists created it, probably by accident. Blacklight absorbs and processes all of the data in a second, as seen in Stealth, Consumes, and the Prototype Conics. Does that mean that Alex processed all of the data of the virus in Elizabeth Green's body in less than a second? That's crazy, as it was stated to be as old as life itself in the Prima Guide. Okay, a word about the guides. I've never had anything to do with the writing of the guides. No one on the guide reached out to me. Take that as you will.
All right.
This is not a slight on Dan.
The guides were commissioned officially by the company, and they have their approval, and that's all the validity they need. But that is nice to know that they didn't ask the writers, because that still means they got consistent information aligned with what happened with the games without asking the writers. So that probably just means they paid attention. But whatever.
Well, again, like, it's not a slight on Dan, but it does make sense that he doesn't know the origins of the Blacklight if he's never read the guides. So
yeah, writers' relationships with the guides depend on how the guides are typically constructed. A lot of writers, depending on the guide, might have more involvement in it. more series often than not do have it commissioned under a director if it's a video game series usually. Like I think God of War, DMC, and like Darksiders, a lot of those things were produced either like narrative leads or by the game directors. So that is, while that is like kind of sad that he didn't get involved in it, it's not like uncommon for writers of a writer team to not get involved in the writing of a guidebook, because they don't need to call you out there to the office and be like, hey, can we get your opinion on this? For the writing of a guidebook, it's just information that's intended to send people through the game and has some lore information. It's mostly meant there for gameplay purposes. By the way,
I suppose
mount level calculation for prototypes nuke, assuming it would only destroy Manhattan. I would leave it at large island level MFTL speeds with the speed of processing memories it could take. So was this an auto-correct thing, or someone literally going through this and changing shit manually? I don't know the technology that he used for this. As far as like the calcs and stuff, that's cool that you have those, but I don't really need or use those calcs. Also, I have no idea what you meant, Martinez, when you said good take specifically. But go ahead.
Balrog gave was, well, yeah, I guess, though this does make me wonder how fast Alex really is. What I actually said was, I still, as I've told you, don't think Alex or Heller absorbed someone's entire life. I think they absorbed the information they were looking for. Each enemy that Alex and Heller consume makes them stronger, but we also know that the enemies themselves get stronger to catch up to them. Like with the hunters that apparently consume each other to keep up with them, does that mean if they absorb, like, say, even a brawler near the end game, it makes them at least twice as strong? And I don't understand why he's so hung up on this twice as strong thing that is not as nonsensical as as Heller or Mercer moving the sun, but it still doesn't make an enormous amount of sense. And he says that I said, twice as strong? Sure. What I actually said was, twice as strong? No. As I've said, I think it's like refilling a fuel tank and they get gradually stronger. Almost done. Elizabeth Green can use an infectious wave of energy just out of curiosity. It's a pure energy because they look like one. And, okay, almost as baffling as claiming that I was head of Radical. Oh yes, one of my friends worked on P1. I remember our conversation we had at a party where we discussed lore elements. When asked if Elizabeth Green's wave is pure energy, I can confirm that it is indeed pure energy, which she sends around the player during the boss fight. I never said any of that.
That snoring is not me, by the way. That's my dog.
What sound?
Oh, I couldn't tell if you could hear my dog snoring, and I'm just like, that's not me. I didn't fall asleep.
I feel like if you were snoring, it would be a lot louder because I couldn't even hear the sound.
I just wanted to make sure because it was a very loud one.
Well, I wouldn't have had to deal with it eventually, or I would have had to deal with it eventually, but it wouldn't have been a problem because we're almost at the end of the video. And we're moving at 2 times the speed, so it would have been done in like 3 minutes.
Not one word. That is an entirely fictitious response. Why? Why come up with the party? With the... What I actually said was, I already told you, I don't have details about stuff in P1 because I didn't work on it. I don't know what was intended for Green. Neither Alex nor Heller can manipulate pure energy.
I know it's his opinion, but this also shows that he doesn't really know the lore because, yes, they can. It's stated in one's guidebook.
And it's also directly shown in the game as well. I mean, even if you thought it wasn't pure energy, it's a glowing green object. That's not... What else would we call that than energy? Also, the guidebook calls it energy. So, it's... Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of... I could have responded to all the other things he said, but that one in particular, just because you responded with, I felt the need to, because it's like, it's very clearly obvious that it's energy. And all the other ones were obvious, but that one in particular was. He's annoyed, not that I would blame him. No, it's understandable for him to be annoyed and upset about it. Someone took his words out of context and fabricated a conversation. We're just pointing out that wasn't Balrog that did that, and the person that made this video also lied about a number of things. In fact, the funniest thing about this is that for a person who's calling out lying, the only person here who has a record of lying that we can point to is Dante Power Scaling, the guy that's making the video, calling out Balrog for being a liar. Because the number of claims made in these videos, in the less than 2 minutes that he spends talking, or it's like less than 3 minutes, most of those are lies. Or if they're not lies, they're elements of them that are misinformed or intentionally disingenuous.
And that's apparently something that's been discussed because Elizabeth Green was shooting like what looked like balls of energy there's been some discussion of, oh, does this mean that Alex Mercer or James Heller could move faster than light? No. That makes absolutely no sense. If you can see something moving, if you can see, like, if you turn on a flashlight.
Not the
Hang
whole.
on. Let him finish. Let him finish. Let him continue.
Travel across the room until he hits the wall? No. If you can see these attacks moving, if you can dodge them, no, it's not faster than play. Anyway.
So
Okay.
this is when we have to bring up that, like, writers aren't power scalers. They don't know these sorts of things.
Also, I noticed that that's not something he put in the DM's chat. Like, he's bringing this up. Like, he brings up that moving fast in the light doesn't make sense because of this. It's like, where was that stated in the conversation? Were you told this by... So this is what I think happened, is that he was shown the conversation that was fabricated, and then he was told by his friend all of these arguments and this information to get him riled up about it. And that's why he mentions the stuff like the speed of light, because that's not mentioned in the conversation there. There's no reason you would to that conclusion or use that terminology specifically. There's no reason you would say that unless you had seen the video itself, which he hadn't. At least until after he was already informed. And all he was shown was the ends. There's no reason he'd be bringing that up unless he was fed a filtered set of arguments and phrases from his friend. So, yeah, that's another point of evidence for his friend having very malicious intent. His friend because that's what he said. I don't know if that's actually true. But considering he has a video from him, I think it's liable that he knows the person and he is acquainted with him. So I'm going to take that on good faith that is probably the case. Could just be that this man is incompetent.
So
not
back to the upgrade
Dan, the writer, the YouTuber that's portraying this.
icons. Once again, he asks, are the upgrade icons canon? Someone of them shows Heller levitating and other stuff, and he says that I said, are they canon? I'd say yes. So this is the actual question and response. Are the upgraded image icons canon? And I said, I had zero to do with the icons. That's strictly art department. So that's it. That should set the record straight on all of this stuff. Did I want to make this video? Do I enjoy seeing myself on camera? Do I enjoy hearing my own voice recorded? No, I didn't want to do this. But I also don't enjoy having a whole bunch of stuff attributed to me when I definitely did not say any of it.
And that we can both agree on. I too don't like words being put in my mouth.
I think the most ironic thing about this is that in order for this guy, Big Power Scaling, to address the problem of words being put in his mouth, he has to put words in Balrog's mouth. That's how he thought fixing the situation would go. He's like, oh, I'm going to address this harm that was committed to my friend by doing the exact same thing that they did to him.
No,
Another person who I'm assuming is responsible for the thing I'm accusing them of.
You know what's annoying?
By association.
You know what's annoying is that this is another video where the title is not what it's advertised to be.
Yeah, it's not even if you believe everything in this video is 100% correct. I mean, I guess technically at the beginning he's calling him out, but like that's not even what's being done because most of the video isn't even his video. It's the writer, Dan, talking about getting on the camera and just addressing the issues of that specific conversation and trying to parse through what information is accurate and not. That's it. It's not about calling out Balrog Blaze, though he's obviously mentioned. It's also not about responding to the video in which the original video, the original source in which this was linked. Alex Mercer versus Carnage equals ads. I don't know anything about Marvel. At least that Marvel. How are you? I'm doing well, Dark Lord. How are you? What is your dog's name? Apparently, he wants to know your dog's name, Balrog.
My dog's name is Nitro. Nitro.
Did you just say Nitro with the R in front of the N?
No, I said his name and then I spelled it. Maybe the microphone didn't catch it.
No. I was like, man, you missed a very important vowel. What? Are we almost done with the video? We're almost done. This is a joke of debunk on Dante. It's not on Dante. It comes from the YouTube channel that presented this is called Dante Power Scaling.
And apparently
That is the name of the channel. And was created 6 days ago on a channel that was created 7 days ago.
specifically just to give me a place to live because, you know, I love free rent, living in people's heads.
Also, according to this guy, we can expect more. So we can expect probably at least one, maybe two more videos.
Does that mean he's going to address actual arguments, or is this going to be like what the other guy tried to do?
What it means, Kyle, what it means is that you get some content.
What it means is that I actually get to upload shit instead of it just being streams.
Yes, Alex is just a Dean, a Mark Kane victim. Kyle, are you doing all right? He's currently sleeping. Oh no, that's his dog. It was literally flittering. So, bro, no one's gonna apparently. So, bro apparently thought this was gonna slide, and no one's gonna call him out. I'm assuming he was prepared for that. But I don't think he thought it through. Nitro Zeus. I think I'm seeing things from a different perspective now. At first, I thought Balrog was lying, but I thought, why is Dan so contradictory in what he says? So it's okay. So it's not that Dan is contradictory. Dan specifically is the victim. We're pointing that out right now. Dan is the victim. Balrog is the one that's being accused, and the suspect or the perpetrator is what is his name? I don't remember his name as much. You contacted him. You're familiar with it. Could you please address me? His name is William something. Balrog.
What do you want me to do?
I need the name of the person who gave you the conversation.
William D. Weber.
Okay. So the victim is this guy, Dan. This prototype 2. Balrog is the one that's being accused of fabricating information. The person who would be alleged to have done it, the suspect in question, the primary suspect, is William D. Weber. Somebody from Discord, some rando on the internet. We don't know who he is. And I'm just Balrog close. I'm just here like providing perspective. Yeah, so while Dan is a bit contradictory in some of his statements, I think that's just because he's just in his frustration right now. That's fine. I think he's allowed to be frustrated. He just needs to be aware that the information that he's being given is being filtered through a person that has hatred for Balrog and is changing a lot of the context behind his answers, especially since he knows Dan's not going to follow him. He doesn't care about this. He's just a writer. He's going to go about his daily life. Like, he doesn't care about this. And it doesn't really matter to him. And to be fair, partially it shouldn't. But since he felt the need to make a video about it, I would point this out to him. You probably should ask your friend for the full details on what he was talking about before he starts accusing someone that's innocent of something that they'd be guilty of. Because it's one thing to say that a person used fake scans. It's another thing entirely to claim that they committed a forgery. Which, as Balrog pointed out, he didn't even know they were faked because he was shown a direct video of the guy having them on his phone desktop, frame by frame. That's not a good argument.
Not at all.
So,
Sorry,
special thanks
bad
to a friend of mine that I will refer to as El Diamante. That's it. Bye.
Well, after that informative break, it seems to me that we have covered the most important thing in this video, which was to disprove that lying rat called Balrog Blaze. Although I plan to do equality scaling with real evidence on Alex Mercer's level, I will do it in another video. The most important thing today was really to disprove the false captures that Balrog used for his mediocre and meaningless arguments to scale the eternal structural called Alex Mercer. I'll wait for you in the next video where I will demonstrate why
Wait. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. So, okay, so his main point was to prove the lying Balrog Blaze was wrong. Okay.
Hang on.
Failed.
Hang on. Did he just call me a fucking rat?
Secondly, he's going to do a video on how to scale Alex Mercer correctly. Okay, so are we?
But you've demonstrated that you don't know dick about shit about Alex's actual, like, lore.
Are we getting a video about the video that this was presented in? Are we gonna get a video about the Alex versus Cole video? I hope we do, because that would be really disappointing if we didn't. Because if it turns out this guy is just a really pissed off prototype scaler, that's gonna be even funnier.
That's gonna be even easier.
People think that we wouldn't rip a prototype scaler for the same reason that we rip Infamous. Oh, we will rip anybody from any series. Well, the only thing we care about is what factual information is. We don't particularly hold feelings to positions. That's the only thing we care about.
No.
We don't care what
No,
franchise
this dude called me a fucking rat. I need to get some more money so I can commission Nguyen to make my avatar into a fucking rat so I can have that for the next thumbnail.
To get a rat emoji.
No, I just need it for the thumbnail for the next time this guy comes on.
I refuse to call him that. I'm still confused about all of this. That's fine, Martinez. So this guy with the weird cursed Sonic emoji, he's the guy that's accusing Balrog of being a liar. The guy that failed.
Until his plushie was on.
The guy on screen the entire time was the writer, the actual writer who was asked about this conversation and had his words taken out of context.
Until I saw the plushie in a different position, I couldn't tell what character it was. I thought it was a fucking mosquito. No, it's fucking Metal Sonic.
I thought it was a Sonic character. Is that not a Sonic character?
No, it's a Sonic character. I just couldn't tell what it was until he had it in a different angle.
I don't know what Sonic character it is. I'm just saying that because I'm pretty sure the eyeballs, the head, and the ears, and the color kind of reminds me a little bit of Metal Sonic.
Yeah, well, that's what's supposed to. That's what's supposed to be. But I couldn't tell for sure. I thought it was a giant fucking mosquito.
So Kyle got his own version. Oh wait, let me read these. Now, bro will be called Certified Clown. Okay, that's better, Wonton. If you want to identify this guy, gotta call him by a name. More like weeks free of rent for you, Kyle. Yeah. Ippo versus Little Mac. I don't know anything about those characters. Kyle, go.
I don't know those characters.
Okay. Back to the chat. So Kyle got his own version of the guy who used to make videos about Zima and eventually tried to call the whole Discord from a few years back. Wasn't there a person? Was I around when that was happening, or did I join later?
Do you remember Chaos?
Who's Reggie talking about specifically?
Do you remember Chaos?
I do remember Chaos. That's old though. That was a while. That was like 6.
That's like 7, 8 years ago.
That was so long ago. Yeah, because we met in like 2019. It is 2025 right now. I don't know why Jeremy's laughing so hard. Balrog, how skilled are you at fighting, and what is your fighting style? Hour go.
Are we talking games, or are we talking in real life?
I can't expect anything from someone who just called Alex Mercer structure level. Wait, did he say that? Hold on, can we back up the video a little bit? Did he actually say structure? I want to see that.
It seems to me that we have covered the most important thing in this video, which was to disprove that lying rat called Balrog Blaze. Although I plan to do equality scaling with real evidence on Alex Mercer's level, I will do it in another video. The most important thing today was really to disprove the false captures that Balrog used for his mediocre and meaningless arguments to scale the eternal structural called Alex Mercer. I'll wait for you in the next video.
Eternal structure.
It kind of jarbled in there. Though to be fair, it's moving at 2 times the speed. Why is he disrespecting Metal Sonic like that? I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but a lot of plushies are basically the greatest visual disrespect that you can do of any character. That's not specifically this guy's fault. Like, a lot of plushies just look hideous. No disrespect to people who like plushies. They just, art style wise, they do not look good. Alex is multi-city block? Probably. I can't believe Mangler would lie and blame Kyle. Wow, that's my job. Oh.
No, what
Why are you accusing me of doing?
What people need to understand is that there is no Balrog Blaze, there is no Mangler. You've just been listening to Zim the entire time.
Oh yeah, because everyone accuses us of being like someone else, even though we sound completely different and have different accents. That clown got me weak. This is a whole joke. I mean, he's a joke.
So
the writer is not. The writer was the only person I took seriously, which is why I think the whole video is based around him, which is interesting because I'm assuming none of the following videos are going to have anything about this writer. I'm going to hold this guy to this position because he was very upset about having his statements and things taken out of context. He was also not happy about having his information just be used in general. So I'm wondering if his friend is going to feature him in further conversations to support his positions. That'd be interesting.
Well, from what it sounds like his next video is going to be either a prototype video or a video going over my scaling, which is going to be interesting because you've demonstrated from what you've said that you don't have a lot of knowledge on prototype, and the fact that you are not a native English speaker is going to be very hard for you to go through interviews and go through guidebooks and like not just interviews on YouTube, but also like interviews you can find online and in the archives, because translating English into different languages, there's going to be something lost in translation, I guarantee it.
I'd say the greater concern is specifically the fact that if you're speaking English as a if you're speaking English not as a first language, but through like a translator, and you're not even like speaking the language, like you can't speak English except through a translator, or you're kind of like functionally speaking it, good luck going through a guide. Good luck going through a guide. That's probably not going to happen. You're probably not going to do it. And then there's also the issue of making claims for a series that is produced predominantly in the West, which Prototype is a Western property. It's meant to be produced primarily and perceived in America under the English language, which means you're going to need to read the English guides. I'm not saying that you can't read a Spanish guide or something of it, but like the primary language where you'd be conveying that information would be English. So if English is not your first language and you're going to have to struggle with that because you don't speak it, I'm sorry, that's going to hurt you a lot when you try to read that guide. If you try to read that guide, you are not going to be able to convey your points across effectively. That was what some clown said in the Dante video. What Dante video? And we're all just multiple personalities inside of Zim's head. That is true. I'm accusing you of doing absolutely nothing, but I'm blaming you for everything. Sounds like every day of my life. You know he's going to use a stupid AI voice for other videos? Well, if he said that he wasn't really going to speak in English because it's not his language, then he'll probably be using AI. It was I, Ezio, all along. There was no Mangler account. Oh, okay. Glad that that's been elaborated on. Also, Mangler, how dare you? How dare you not tell me to me, prone to drift, what I like to become one of my favorite characters in Glassland? Yeah, he's a great character. And since he's not a native, you know he's going to take things out of context on purpose and blame his language. So typically, that is what is done on the internet. Is that most people who are functionally media illiterate, which is not to say people from any other countries outside of America. That is people from every country. Human beings on this planet in general are really, 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 really disingenuous and dishonest when it comes to conveying information in languages. They will always blame, especially if they don't speak the language, they will always blame it entirely on the language, but they won't explain what's fundamentally wrong with the language itself to justify that position. And they can't provide compelling empirical evidence, not their opinion, empirical factual evidence to justify that claim. They just argue like, oh, well, this information is not accurate because the Spanish guide said it this weird way, but when I translated it didn't say any of that. And I speak Spanish natively, and this is a bastardization, so it's actually a mistranslation, thus you can't use it. It's like that there was a whole list of fallacies in there that we're going to have to address. Actually, everyone is miso soup. Everyone is a part of my subconscious. I hope that's not true. Now, both of you will watch that Eternal Destruction video. No, hold up a minute. That's not the correct order of things. We have a video request chat in order. We have to go through the ones at the top and then go to the bottom. And that one is at the bottom.
To be fair,
not at the top.
To be fair, this one was requested after that one.
Well, this is Balrog's request. So this is different. I'm talking about more, like, those were more so for Z.
Also, like, if you made it this far, like, thank you for sticking around, but I was going to let this video go. I wasn't even going to respond, but then Mangler's just like, hey, somebody's talking shit about you. You want to make a video? I'm like, fuck it, it'll be fun.
I was told someone, well, so I saw some of the statements in one of the chats that someone was accusing you of being a liar and fabricating scans. I'm like, oh, someone's accusing you of a crime. That's interesting. Square up. Like, do it right now. Provide me that evidence right now. And this was the evidence. It was just the author being upset about someone fabricating a scan. It's like, okay. And how does that prove he fabricated the scan? That just proves someone told you this information. Doesn't prove that he is the one that did it. Also, we know the person that gave him the conversation, so it's not even him that did it. This whole time when Dante Power Scaling is talking, all I'm hearing is ho 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 ho. Yeah. That was me. Which person was you? Specifically? Maidenless Clown. See, that's an actual title you can use. I'm not approving it. I'm just saying, like, I can understand that term rather than just Dante. Virgil in Elden Ring is still waiting for Mangler to finish Elden Ring. Yeah, listen, guys, it's taking me some time. I have to go through a lot of stuff. I have to do a lot of reading. I got to do a lot of writing. I have a lot of projects I have to work on right now.
Yeah, the reason why projects
I will close.
The reason why projects on my end are taking so long is because life has gotten in the way, and there's also like some financial issues going on my end. So I'm kind of trying to fix that before I do anything else.
Financial issues, those suck. I too have had financial issues in the past few months. They are not great.
No, they are not. Now, when is Zim gonna have some financial issues so he can become one of us?
I'm not gonna say it on the stream, but I didn't tell you what happened to me, did I?
Earlier in the year? Yeah, but...
No, I mean, like, recently. Like in the last 2 months.
Maybe, but we'll discuss that off stream.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Virgil versus Elden Ring verse again. Dark Lord. I can answer the question. I can answer the question once I go through it. Hold it in. Just be a good little boy and hold that burning question inside for like a week. You just have to do that without exploding, and you've succeeded. Well, it's been fun. I should probably do this again sometime soon, boys. Yes, it's great to have you, Reggie. You don't show up that often, but we appreciate you being here. Next up, Zim talking about Gladius versus the Combine. Oh yeah, I don't even think that's the second one in order, but like that is one of them. Yes, I told Balrog about this video on Discord. Oh, okay. I think you have a different name on this than you do on the server. I was like, who in the world are you? What in the world are you talking about? I'm ready to run some fades. What does that mean? Kyle, I just want your Draco video and also money I got. Kyle, he wants your Draco video and also your money, apparently.
Tell you what. The Drago video will come, and you can give me money instead. How's that sound? Helpful, brother.
It's like an Uno remote. Just like, actually, why don't you give me money?
Uno reverse. I'm doing similar stuff that Seth does. Give me money. I'm a better power scaler.
Bro, the amount of money we've spent versus the amount of money we've gained on our hobbies is crazy compared to Seth.
Brother,
Man spends all that money basically just, disingenuously talking about stuff, gets so much money, enough to live off of it, does like no research.
brother, I understand it's not fair.
Research.
The only way I can describe it is we love power scaling, but power scaling doesn't love us.
I know what happened. I have heard things. Yes, that's you. I just thought, someone was talking about Balrog. Let me see this quickly to Balrog himself. I'm going to have the Jeff Stream Sam's profile picture. Yeah, I think I got that part. Thank you for elaborating, though. I appreciate the clarification. Communication is important. In fact, if communication had been exercised effectively, we probably wouldn't have had to be here in the first place. I would if you actually had a super chat or membership. Apparently, Balrog does not have a super chat or a membership.
Well, no, I don't have enough that YouTube warrants it.
YouTube's like, yeah, you're trash. You don't deserve this.
YouTube's like, get 500 YouTube's like, get 500 subscribers, and then you can get a super chat. So if you people want to make if you people want to make some fake accounts and subscribe to get me to 500 to give me some money, I wouldn't say no to that. Don't do that.
Well, like, okay, so what about Patreons? Are you capable of doing Patreons, or well, actually, that's a different.
Dude, I am not consistent enough on YouTube. I would be. I am not consistent enough to justify.
Just hypothetically, not that you're actually going to do it, don't do it. But I'm saying, like, the Patreon as a function, that's not something that's built into YouTube, right? Like, that's just a separate company.
No, that's like PayPal. That's a separate platform.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I figured. I'm not familiar with it because I don't have a channel. I was under the impression that pretty much anybody could do super chats. And it's not. Sorry for not being as active as I used to be in streams. Discord, but life is crazy right now. I promise to be more active. As long as you don't die in the process.
Is that Devil?
If you got any more Sonic Racing Crossroads coming out, I'll definitely be.
What was that comment? Yes. Was that comment from Devil?
No, that was Reggie.
Ah.
But it would also be applicable to Devil. Yes. Dark Lord is asking Goku versus Prince from the Prince of Persia. Balrog, go.
Who's you want to fight the Prince?
Goku.
Are we talking the new Prince of Persia, or are we talking Sands of Time trilogy?
It's a can he beat Goku question.
But I need to know which prince.
The most important questions on the internet, of course.
Yes, but I need to know which prince, so I know what power set I'm working with.
Kyle, get good. Get good.
I'm trying.
I'm going to punch the plushie for the homies. I think every plushie in the world should be punched because they do not look like visually appealing. They look visually harmful. We need to make better artwork. It's not acceptable. Clive's wife has more subs than you, and Clive doesn't even have a wife? Damn. Do you hear how he just puts you down like that?
Why do I need people calling me out when the chat does it for me? Who needs
I was
enemies?
gonna say, these
Who needs
remarks are more
enemies who makes an
scathing than
entire
anything
channel?
that has been provided.
Who
Go
who
ahead.
needs a channel that makes their life's goal to be spiteful to you when you just had friends in the chat that can do it for you?
I was gonna say there's nothing that's still more scathing than anything that was mentioned in this video today. But I think that is all of it. We don't have anything else to discuss. Is new Prince stronger than old Prince?
Oh,
Kyle, go.
oh, absolutely, to an absurd margin, because he scales to the Smorg.
So I guess he'd be asking about the new Prince then.
Oh, if it's new Prince versus Goku, oh, Goku's getting his shit kicked in. The new Prince is immeasurable and multiverse plus.
I hope Prototype 3 comes out. The universe would be ironically funny. I mean, it would be. Who needs enemies when you've got me, Pimp? Yeah, that's true. I'll call it any gang I see. I feel like you have a very different reason for doing that, though. It's not just to help your homies, it's for your very unwholesome behavior. Remarks of being wonton soup. Give us the info on the new Prince. That can happen later. I'm gonna. Well, I guess we're done. So, just ending it here.
You want to end it here?
Yeah, because there's nothing more to talk about. We've covered the entire video in its entirety, and we've answered like all the comments, at least the ones that were relevant. Prince is what? Apparently, the Prince is immeasurable and multiversal plus, according to Kai.
Did you ask where I got that from?
Jeremy is asking, I guess.
I pulled it out of my ass. No. So where I got it from is when you're trying to go down to the Snake God, there's a stone that outlines the battle between the Smorg and the Snake God. And what the Smorg did to beat the Snake God is he shattered the timeline into an infinite number. He shattered the universe into an infinite number of timelines to weaken the Snake God, and then beat the Snake God in each one of those timelines and collapse those timelines to kill the Snake God.
That seems a bit overkill.
I'll see if I can get the scan for you.
All to kill a big snake? Couldn't be me. I would have just bopped that snake with the back of my hand. Just bopped him. Took him out.
Yeah, let's see if I can. I'll see if I can get that scan for you.
Are we still live streaming, or are we finished?
Oh, we're still going because I think they can still see my screen. Because I was just gonna show you the.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. There it is.
Just gonna read. Oh.
Actually, no. I love the forward option. I can just fucking forward shit. Damn,
No, that's not his server, Jeremy. That's a different server.
Why did it shoot me back here? No. No, damn it.
That is a server. Don't mind me, I'm just reading.
Yeah, they cooked massively with the new Prince of Persia. It's a good game too. Like it's a genuinely like good hard game. If you have some,
good artwork.
oh yeah, if you have some spare change, like I absolutely recommend you play it. You'll have a good time. One, two, three, four, five. Perfect. I'll also show people so they can read it too.
There's a lot of effort just to kill a snake.
Oh, it is.
I have tried to get Mangler to read that 62 chapter series. I don't remember which one the 62 chapter series is, but I'll keep that in mind. Well, is the sole server just for scans? That's not, guys. That's not his server. That is a server that he is a part of that has scans in some of its chats. No, that would be my server. That's one we're currently in.
That's Mangler's scan server. This is my scan server. This is where I put all my scans and shit.
It's not your scan server. You do put your scans in there, but it's not your server. Don't lie to them. It's a server.
Yeah, actually.
That's the first lie you made today.
Now we're at
That
the,
was not his server.
because we're now at the casual conversation part of this. Did you hear that Hulk Hogan died?
Yes. Right after Ozzy Osbourne died. Wild.
Dude, it's the same
Not a-
week Hulk Hogan and
great
Ozzy
day.
Osbourne go. What the fuck?
Not a great day for people who like them, but especially not a great day for like fans of rock and wrestling. And from what I understood, you love both of those things,
I am both of those
so
things.
it's probably not good for either of you. I'm sorry, what?
I am a fan of both of those things. I was not. So, I was driving to work yesterday morning, and at about 5:30 in the morning, I get a text from my dad, and it says, "Oh, Hulk Hogan died," and I'm thinking, "Oh, fuck! I want to check the phone, but I'm driving, so I had to wait till I got to work to check it out."
Yeah, was that after you were told Ozzy Osbourne died?
Yeah, I woke up and I found out that Ozzy Osbourne died. I was like, oh, fuck me. I
Like,
never.
bro, do you have any idea how many times I had to learn to play Crazy Train in high school? That was like the greatest song we had ever played for our marching band. At least for Friday night games. We had played like way better songs for like concerts and stuff like that. But it was our best like marching song for like communal events. So we loved that. So when I found out he died, I was like, damn it. All that work and effort and the Crazy Train no more.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts. Pretty nuts week.
Yeah. Well, yes, I think it's everything at the moment.
So that 666 Satan thread is actually a series called 666 Satan, which is really good actually. If you people want to read it, absolutely do. It's by the brother of the author of Naruto. The art is really good, and the lead character in that manga is actually like Naruto's best opponent, like thematically.
How powerful is the angry video game nerd as a character? I have no idea. Oh, they're actually using that actual Persian god, huh? It seems so. Damn.
Let me guess. The prince beat the snake god. He probably beat either the snake god or everyone around him.
Well, she was weakened when you do get to her, but she would still scale regardless. It wouldn't matter because at the end of the game, you fight your leader who gets the power of the full power of the Smog's heart. So you basically scale to the Smog like either way.
How do we get that God of High School breakdown? Because I see that 666 thread. When I'm done with God of High School. Rip, brother. Paranoid is a God tier song. Oh, hello, Ryan. I never listened to Paranoid. I read that series I can believe someone else has. Mangler, do you have a fan art channel? Who makes fan art of you? No one makes fan art of me.
Mangler,
But someone has made fan art of me. No one does make fan art of me. Nguyen has made one fan art of me.
Mangler and Devil are the only two who don't have like custom avatars yet.
No, so that's what happened was that Nguyen made a avatar of me when he made all the pictures and the avatars of everyone else, and I didn't get my picture because even though he's already made it, he can literally just send me a small scaled down photo of it. And also because I like my dog more. Well, I guess this avatar photo is just a photo of my dog in Nguyen's art style. And it's just me saying, which is very intimidating to people for some reason.
Well, whenever I speak to, like, I'm gonna send this to Mangler, but whenever I speak to him, this is all I picture. All I picture is this whenever I speak to you.
None. Why do you make it sound like I just hate myself? I'm gonna drink from a fucking cup of nails.
No, it's
What is this?
no, it's supposed to be
Heresy.
you're giving people something hard to drink.
Difficult to swallow, you might say. It's a Black Sabbath song. Oh, I see. Never start a commission a custom avatar when it starts killing the guide. Maybe. I don't know if I have the money for it. It's just I'm saying that since he already commissioned an artwork of that, I should probably go tell Zim to give me that photo of that because my avatar is already in the photo. It's already been made. So no. Either way, I think that's everything unless we have more to discuss.
Unless you have another topic to discuss, I think this would be a pretty good place
No.
to end it.
This is quite a great place to end it.
Well, thank you everyone for coming to this very, very confusing stream where I thought that we were going to be going over arguments that people were presenting. I wasn't expecting it to be an entire thing of basically getting dressed down for half an hour. So, fun.
3 hours of entertainment for your viewing
Yes.
pleasure.